Welcome to ABC Sports Wild Card Saturday Mid-Game Report. From our studio in New York, your host, John Saunders.
So Green Bay picks up the victory 16-12, knocking off the Lions. I'm joined once again by Boomer Esiason, and the story in this game, Barry Sanders held to 0 yards on 13 carries, the lowest total of his career.
Great defense by the Green Bay Packers. That's why they went out and got Reggie White as a free agent. No mistakes by Brett Favre. Really only one costly error on the part of the Green Bay Packers, and that was a great return by Mel Gray. So this is exactly how you want to win a football game in the playoffs.
In the AFC, we may know what happens after the next game, but in the NFC, we have to wait until tomorrow to find out what happens. If the Vikings beat the Bears tomorrow, the Packers will play at San Francisco on January 7th at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. If Chicago beats Minnesota tomorrow, the Packers will play at Dallas on the 8th at 12:30 Eastern Time. Next on ABC, it's the AFC wildcard game. Kansas City against Miami from Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami. The quarterback matchup, the story, and will Dan Marino make a second trip to the Super Bowl? Dan Marino can hear the ticking of time passing too quickly. His window of opportunity is no longer what it once was. Ten years ago, 23-year-old Dan Marino took the Dolphins to the Super Bowl. All agreed it would be the first of many trips to football's most important game for the rising star. But a decade later, while Marino has broken almost every record, a return trip to the Super Bowl has eluded him.
In 1985, I thought I was going to be in a lot of Super Bowls. Even after we lost that game, I was like, well, maybe next year we'll be in, and we had a chance, and next year maybe. And it ends up it's 10 years later and you're not in. So it makes you appreciate it a lot more, and you don't take anything for granted. You go out and enjoy every moment, practice, meetings, games, everything.
The clock ticked even louder for Marino after a season-ending Achilles injury October 10th of last year.
When it happened, I knew it was a problem. And when they came on the field, you know, the trainers pretty much told me it was probably my Achilles. You know, it was frustrating because everything's taken away for that season. You know, I played so many games in a row, like 140-some games in a row without missing. So, you know, that's the thing that you take for granted sometimes, is the enjoyment of playing each and every week.
A frustrated and sidelined Marino left people wondering if he could and if he should come back.
When he got injured, you ask yourself, because of the way he throws the ball, the way he steps, the way he puts his whole body into it, can he still do the same thing after Achilles' problem?
If there were any doubts, Marino laid them to rest in his first game back. And while his impressive comeback may have silenced skeptics, the passing of time became more intense.
He's more intense this year. He's more determined. He's overcome his injury. He's playing just as well as he's ever played before, with the fact that he's not 100%. And you can see the determination in his eyes and in the way he plays.
He came back focused and intense this year like I've never seen him before.
Once he realized that he could still play, I think then the sense of urgency to get to the Super Bowl and make this team a playoff and the Super Bowl team became one of his main priorities.
Marino's emotions run high. His desire burns deep. But time is ticking. And what if there isn't another Super Bowl for Marino? Will all the accolades and notoriety be enough?
To accomplish the things I have over my career is something I'll be very proud of, regardless if I'm in a Super Bowl again or if I win a Super Bowl or whatever the circumstances are. Because I think, to me, sometimes besides winning a Super Bowl, the most important thing is being a consistent player, helping your team win and be at the top of your game at your position. I think I've done that. But I think I really am going to have another chance.
Dan Marino at Joe Robbie Stadium. Will his next game there be in the Super Bowl?
Wild Card Saturday Mid-Game Report. Brought to you by Baked Tostitos. You got Tostitos, you got a party.
Welcome back. Coming up next, it's the AFC wildcard game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Miami Dolphins. And joining us at halftime of that game will be Pittsburgh Steelers head coach Bill Cowher, who has his young daughter Megan on his lap. We'll get a quick reaction from you here. What do you expect in this game, Bill?
Well, I expect it to be a good football game. I think the one thing people can't overlook is Kansas City is finally getting some people back healthy, and obviously you can just tell the determination that Dan Marino has in getting back to the Super Bowl. So I think it's going to be a very good matchup, one that's going to be probably determined by the team that makes the least mistakes.
All right, Bill, enjoy the game. Of course, we know if Kansas City wins, that's who you get next. And your former head coach, Marty Schottenheimer, you get to go up against him. We'll see you at halftime. Boomer Esiason, what do you expect in this game?
Well, 3 weeks ago, Miami dominated Kansas City, but Kansas City was injured. Joe Montana did not play in that game, and there were some crucial mistakes made by the Kansas City offense. I don't expect that to happen today. The thing that I can tell you that the best defense against Dan Marino is to keep him on the sideline. It's up to Joe Montana and Marcus Allen to control the ball, control the clock, and score as many points as they can in a long period of time to keep Dan on the sideline and keep him frustrated.
And as you mentioned earlier, even though they don't play against each other as far as offense, defense, a lot of competitive spirit between these two. And this game is coming up. It's the AFC wildcard game, the first one of the weekend. Boomer and I rejoin you at halftime. Enjoy the game. The kickoff is straight ahead.
Miss Molly, are you ready for some more football? Woo! Woo!
Welcome back to our wild card New Year's Eve celebration. Our distinguished guests now include two of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. Joe Montana of the Kansas City Chiefs will be looking to take that next step towards a 5th Super Bowl ring. It will be the pinnacle accomplishment of a spectacular 16 years in the NFL for 3-time Super Bowl MVP Joe Montana.
Anytime you have the type of teammates that I've had over the years, it always helps everybody's career when you can win and continue to win, and that's what keeps everyone around it.
We'll also raise a glass in celebration to the great Dan Marino of the Miami Dolphins. He's had a glorious career of magnificent statistical accomplishments. He has led the Dolphins to 5 division titles in his 12-year career. But if Marino is to progress through these playoffs and go on to win his first Super Bowl ring, he must today defeat the Kansas City Chiefs and Joe Montana.
He has been an incredible quarterback for a long time, and, you know, considered probably the best that's ever played. He's won 4 Super Bowls, and, you know, I have a lot of respect for Joe.
1994 is winding down. The new year awaits. Father Time is already taking the Detroit Lions with him. With their loss today, time has run out on their Super Bowl quest. Now we'll see which team joins them and which team will go forward into the new year. The Kansas City Chiefs face the Miami Dolphins in this AFC wild card matchup.
Well, it's playoff time and we're ready to rock. Time to catch all the hits, the bangs, and the blocks. It's a postseason party coming at you, yeah. The road to the Super Bowl is in full gear. We gotta get ready. We gotta get right. It's time to kick off this wild card fight. So get ready. I mean, get ready. Are you ready for some football? A big playoff party. We got Frank and Al and Dan. They're gonna get it kick-started. Lynn and the crew's all set. The crowd is psyched. It's the NFL playoffs coming on. That's right.
It's a beautiful South Florida afternoon here in Miami. Temperature hovering right a little breezy, should be no problem. And a sellout crowd at Joe Robbie Stadium for the second half of our wild card doubleheader, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Miami Dolphins. Hello again, everyone. Frank Gifford with Al Michaels and Dan Deerdorf. So happy you are with us. We have a super matchup for you coming your way. This is the second half of our doubleheader. These two teams coming in on a bit of a roll. They met 3 weeks ago, and Miami prevailed in that one 45-28. The Dolphins won the game they had to win over Detroit a week ago, 27-20, to finish 10-6, the AFC East champions. Meanwhile, Kansas City has struggled all year long. They won a sudden death game, what amounted to a sudden death game last week against their arch rival, division rival, the Raiders, 19-9. And Al, coming into this game for Kansas City, even though they lost here 3 weeks ago. They're coming in as healthy as they've been since the very beginning of the season. They feel good about it.
And they'll have to be, because they're the number 6 seed in the American Football Conference, and that means they'll have to win 3 games during the playoffs to get to the Super Bowl here on the 29th of January. All of them on the road. Now, the Chiefs have been to the playoffs 5 consecutive years. That's the longest current streak in the National Football League. But 2 years ago, they went out and got Joe Montana and Marcus Allen to get them to the Super Bowl. As you take a look at Montana, last year they got to the AFC Championship game. So time is essential right now. Montana 38, Allen is 34. Nobody's ever played better in postseason than Joe. And as far as Marcus is concerned, last week a tremendous day against the Raiders. He carried the ball 33 times to match a career high. Look for him to get the ball almost as much today. They will be the keys to Kansas City's playoff future. And they take on Miami, Dan, and I know one thing about the Dolphins. They'll simply take the same result they got here on the 12th of December in that Monday night game.
You're right. They'll take the same score, and they'll take some of the things that happened they'd like to see happen again. Some of them, Al, they'd like to make go away. In that ball game, the Miami Dolphins did some things that, well, they haven't done consistently well all season. Some they have. First of all, the running attack. They got 127 yards out of Bernie Parmalee. Now, there's a guy that you don't expect to dominate the other team, but he dominated the Chiefs in running the football against them. Now, the Miami run defense all year long has been playing very, very well. They set a club record for the least number of yards allowed. A couple reasons there. Brian Cox moved into the middle. Tim Bowens has really emerged as a budding superstar. He won the AP Defensive Rookie of the Year. But what they did bad that they want to correct is that they allowed a kickoff return to John Vaughn of the Chiefs for a touchdown. In their game against the Indianapolis Colts the next week, they allowed a punt return for a touchdown. And then in their season finale against Detroit that both Al and Frank mentioned, they gave up another kickoff return. 3 returns in 3 weeks for the Miami Dolphins. They cannot afford mistakes like that in a playoff atmosphere.
And it's a beautiful day. Temperature in the upper 70s. Clear skies, no threat of rain. Joe Robbie Stadium filled to capacity, as it will be 4 weeks from tomorrow for Super Bowl 29. Joe Montana comes back to Joe Robbie Stadium, the site of one of his great triumphs. It was here following the '88 season. He hit John Taylor in the end zone on the game-winning drive to defeat the Cincinnati Bengals. So now Joe at the age of 38, and the subject of speculation as to how much longer he'll play. He said, I haven't decided. We asked Marty Schottenheimer for his gut feeling last night, and the Chiefs coach said, I haven't talked about it with him, but I would bet against his retiring.
Don't you wish he could play forever?
Yes.
Well, and I think Marty actually feels that, but let's be realistic. There's a certain amount of wishful thinking in that statement as well.
Absolutely.
He needs Joe Montana to come back as long as he is still a productive football player, and he is.
The Chiefs and the Dolphins 4 years ago, they played a very dramatic wild card game in the same stadium, which the Dolphins won 17-16. And on Christmas Day of '71, they played the longest game in NFL history, 82 minutes, 40 seconds in Kansas City. Garo Yepremian won it on a field goal. Pete Stoyanovich to kick off, and John Vaughn is back to receive. John Vaughn, who ran that kickoff back for a touchdown 3 weeks ago, came over about a month ago from the Seattle Seahawks.
Kickoffs and punts, they are not taken for granted here in Miami. Everybody in this stadium is on pins and needles.
And Stoyanovich with a beauty, and Vaughn won't even have a chance to run it back.
You think he might be pumped up, Stoyanovich?
Well, that's the best kick coverage possible. The Chiefs take over at the 20. Montana had a hot start this year, then plateaued, then sprained his foot, but came back strong the last 2 weeks. He has Marcus Allen and Kimball Anders behind him. Anders catches a lot of passes. Burden and Davis, the wideouts. Walker, the tight end. And up front, we'll take a look at that in a moment on 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. And they begin with Marcus Allen, and we'll see this a lot today. And the Chiefs hope they see that play a lot today. A 9-yard pickup tackled by Jesse Solomon. The guys who will lead the way up front and provide the protection for Joe Montana. Alt, Zott, Grunhardt's had a fine year at center, Shields, and Graham. Defensively now, Miami cross. Tim Bowen's a great-looking rookie from Mississippi. Klingbeil and Coleman, the front four. Beavers, a rookie. Cox and Solomon are the backers. And Vincent and Brown at the corners. Stewart, the former Ram. Atkins, the former Saint, are the safeties. Here is Marcus Allen. And out to the 37, so they pick up right where they left off last week against the Raiders. Atkins makes the tackle.
Marcus Allen carried the football 33 times against the Raiders last week for 132 yards, and Marty Schottenheimer had a great line. He said, well, I'm certainly not saving Marcus for anything. He tries to pace him pretty well during the regular season, but during playoff time, Greg Hill is going to spend more time on the bench. Marcus Allen, more time on the field.
Montana looking to throw for the first time. His first pass is complete, and Kimball Anders makes the catch and turns it back inside. He is tackled by Aubrey Beavers, the rookie linebacker out of Oklahoma.
Anders working well out of the backfield, the leading receiver with 67 receptions over the course of the season. And Dan, going back to Marcus Allen, I played this game at 34 years old, and I couldn't walk for a week after I got hit 3 or 4 times as a wide receiver. He is truly a remarkable athletic specimen.
I think 33 carries would test the stamina of a 24-year-old, much less a 34-year-old.
On 2nd and 4, this is Kimball Anders, the up back, who just caught the last pass, taking it out to the 46-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 1, a long one. Marty Schottenheimer, through the course of the game, one of the
is that a good guess, Al?
in the league, he's one of the few. It is. I can tell it was Marty. He's one of the few head coaches that writes a lot of notes during the course of the game.
Oh, I see.
This is 3rd and short, but for Kansas City, this is pass territory. Their pass game is like their run game.
3rd and a short 2, and Montana will go to the air, and Montana lofts one into the secondary, and it's caught by Marcus Allen. First down at the Miami 39, tackled by Atkins.
Atkins can't believe that a hit of that magnitude didn't jar the ball loose. He timed the hit on Marcus Allen perfectly, and how Marcus held onto the football, I'm not sure, Frank.
He's lost a few over the years, but watch the way he clutches it right to the chest. He catches it right up against the chest, pulls it in as quickly as he can. You saw him a moment ago when he ran the sweep to the right, the 49 or whatever they call it. He was covering it up the same way.
Boy, Atkins hits Allen, hits the ball, and still can't get it loose.
1st and 10 at the 39-yard line. That was Lake Dawson, number 80 in motion. Montana with great protection. Hits Anders, and Anders, their leading receiver during the regular year. He caught 67 balls, makes his 2nd catch. He's taken down by Troy Vincent, and a most impressive opening drive by the Chiefs.
You know, this is what we didn't see 3 weeks ago with Steve Bono. Taking nothing away from Bono, that was a 3-deep read by Montana. He looked downfield, looked for one man, another man. He knew exactly where Anders was going to be when the other receivers were covered. Anders waving the hands, getting the ball. Good drive.
At the 24. Here's Marcus Allen. Picks up about 2. Last week, the Chiefs scored on their opening drive against the Raiders. In fact, Montana hit Davis a couple of minutes into the game, and they never looked back. And Kansas City this season with 7 touchdowns on their first drives of games, quite in contrast to the Dolphins, who went an entire season and scored 1 touchdown in the first quarter last week.
Yeah, and that was on, ironically enough, the opening drive of the game against the Lions. And there's Don Shula with his new little zip cart over on the sideline. The golf cart's gone, a personalized cart.
A play of the drive. On 2nd down and 8, Montana slings one. It's caught by J.J. Burton, and he should have a first down. Takes it just inside the 14-yard line.
Well, one of the things the Dolphins have had trouble doing, and not just against Kansas City, but against everybody, is mounting a consistent pass rush. And so far in this opening drive against Joe Montana and the Chiefs, they are not putting any pressure on Montana whatsoever. Frank mentioned the fact that he goes from 1 to 2 to 3 different receivers, and that is a prescription to lose the ball game if you give Joe Montana the ability to survey the field to that extent.
The Chiefs with 4 first downs on the game's opening drive. On 1st and 10, the fake to Allen. Montana surveying and throwing, and the catch is made at at the 2 by Derek Walker.
You can't do that. I mean, that was absolutely beautiful. Montana right at the sidelines. I thought he was going to throw it away. He had the ball where only his receiver, Derek Walker, who is a 6-foot target out of Michigan, I might point out, Dan, not one of your taller
he's not.
tight ends, but Montana put that ball where only Walker could handle it.
Tom Olivedati there on the left. The defensive coordinator of the Dolphins, Joe Green, on the right. Again, that's beautiful footwork along the side by Walker, and of course a perfect delivery. Joe Valerio is in. He's on the left side as a tight end.
And he's caught 2 touchdown passes. They give it to Marcus Allen, and he gets turned back just shy of the goal line. It'll be 2nd and goal. He's pushed back by Craig Vesey.
Allen, of course, is their short yardage man. He has a knack for it like few players that have ever played this game. He has 7 rushing touchdowns coming into the game. They like him on short yardage. He is a heady player. We already watched him, the way he holds on to the football. He won't get you in trouble.
I believe Marcus has like 98 rushing touchdowns during the course of his career. Another 22 receiving.
They have Will Shields, a guard, as the fullback in the backfield, and Montana throws in the end zone. Touchdown, Derek Walker.
Well, Miami was thinking like we were thinking, Dan. You play fake to Marcus Allen, send him in the line, you slip Walker into the back of the end zone, 6 points.
And you know why Walker was open? Because Joe Valerio, the offensive guard who was playing the tight end position with a couple of touchdown catches, he released out into the pattern. 2 of the Dolphins trail with him, and Walker ends up being in the open.
Well, that's a classy drive.
Joe Valerio can go home and tell everybody, I'm such a dreaded receiver that I'm a decoy.
Once again, no pass pressure.
Lynn Elliott for the extra point, and it's a low kick, but it does go through.
That should only be good for half a point.
7-0.
That's an ugly.
The calendar may say 1994, but Joe Montana just made it look like 1984. Perfect drive.
Danny Villa is the snapper. Watch the horrible snap. Great job by Louis Aguiar of getting it in there. And then look at this thing coming right at us off the toe of Lynn Elliott.
We got a $100,000 camera up there, too. And that just whisked right by.
Oh, yeah. Don't knock that baby off the goalpost.
If we're going to lose that camera, make it on a game-winning field goal, not on the first extra point of the afternoon.
There's Joe Valerio that pulled some of the Miami defense with him, opening it up for Derek Walker. And, boy, Al, you said it. What a trip back in time that drive was for Joe Montana and the Chiefs.
Here's Aguiar now as Miami gets ready to take the ball for the first time. This is O.J. McDuffie taking it from the 4-yard line up past the 20. And then tackled up at the 28-yard line. John Vaughn with the stop. So Marino and the Dolphins take over after Montana goes 80 yards in 11 plays to give the Chiefs the early lead.
The Big Bang, the Big Voice, and the Big Adventure have in common? Find out on the Doritos Super Bowl halftime show on ABC.
Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami, the site of Super Bowl 29 coming up 4 weeks from tomorrow, and the Dolphins trying to get there. The Dolphins and the Chiefs, AFC wildcard game. Miami has it for the first time in the game. 1st and 10 from the 28-yard line. Dan Marino retreats. Throws, and it's incomplete. Good coverage by the secondary. Bernie Parmalee was the intended receiver, and Neil Smith sends Marino right to the turf. Let's take a look at the offense now. Dan Marino, statistically, this was his best season since 1986. Parmalee, a wonderful story. We'll get into it. In the backfield with Saxon. Fryer and McDuffie are the wideouts. Keith Jackson is the tight end. Webb and Sims terrific on the left side with Dellenbach, Widener, and Ron Heller, who was questionable before the game with a shoulder, is starting. And he'll have his hands full with Neil Smith much of the day. On 2nd and 10. The catch is made. Saxon, the fullback, and a former Chief takes it out to the 38, close to a first down. One guy Miami is minus today is Mark Ingram with a sprained ankle. The receiver is inactive. Now the Kansas City defensive unit. And they play a base 4-3. Smith now healthy again with Phillips, Saliamua, and Mickle. The linebackers, the great Derek Thomas with Simeon and Jamison, who's now healthy again. The secondary, Collins made the big play last week, the interception against Hostetler to turn the game around. Carter on the other side with Whitmore. and White. 3rd down and 1 at the 38-yard line. And a little misdirection results in a first down as Connolly takes the ball across the 40 to the 41-yard line behind a James Saxon block.
Boy, an interesting call, Dan. They go to the right side when you would expect them to go to the Pro Bowl side. Richmond Webb and Keith Sims over on the left side. They go right to Ron Heller, who was questionable as of this morning. Big opening.
A huge opening on the right-hand side. Al mentioned Saxon's block. Heller got a good one. And for Ron Heller, it's his left shoulder. And this is really going to affect him when Neil Smith or whomever is across from him tries to go to his inside. Does he have the strength to push them off?
On 1st and 10, here's Parmalee. Kearney breaking tackles into Kansas City territory. Run down at the 43 by William White. The type of running he exhibited 19 days ago against these same Chiefs.
But again, Ron Heller with a block at the line of scrimmage that enabled Parmalee to pop to the outside. And he was a question mark coming into this game. I know Don Shula wasn't planning on him last night, but he just mowed them down the line of scrimmage. Watching number 73.
One of the league's tough guys is Ron Heller. Keep in mind now, this is a guy that yesterday could not raise that arm to even parallel to the ground. He couldn't raise it that far, yet today here he is starting in a playoff game.
Marino slings it to the near side. The catch is made at the 36 by Irving Fryer.
The thing for Heller is it's going to be hard for him when Neil Smith wants to go back to the inside. I just don't know that he's going to have the strength to push him off. And if Neil Smith is smart, he's going to try to take advantage of that. But he told Don Shula this morning, Coach, I'm going to play. I haven't played football my entire life to miss a playoff game.
Well, you lose this one today, you got a long time to think about it.
Yeah. Of course, if the shoulder's not enough of a problem, how about number 90 there in the red helmet?
2nd and 2 at the 35. Chiefs leading 7-0, 5:45 left in the quarter. Parmalee, room to roam on the outside. Takes it to the 27, and a marker is down. The first flag of the game. You saw Mark Collins indicating offensive holding. Jerry Markbright is the referee, and that is the call.
Thought that hole looked pretty big over there.
That's why.
I guess.
Someone had a good grip. Quick glance at Gary Stevens. He makes the calls, of course, offensively for Miami. His 6th year with Miami. Prior to that, 9 years, University of Miami, right here.
Holding number 22, offense. 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
That's tough when you do it out of the backfield. You are so visible. We pick up Saxon on the hold.
Well, he had the wonderful block on their first play. Off to the right side. The reason Don likes that card is he can move it to wherever he wants, but then he can stand up and lean on it. There he is. There's a shot of him, how he likes to lean against it. Imagine a man of Shula's accomplishments and inner drive being confined to that cart because of that Achilles surgery.
And he will be for another month or more. 2nd and 12. Parmalee. Not much happening through the middle. He's stopped there by Doug Terry. The Dolphins this season led the league in offense. What does that mean? Well, the NFL equates offensive leadership with most yards. So even though the 49ers scored more than 100 points more than the Dolphins outgained the 49ers and thus ranked number 1.
4 wide receivers on 3rd and 10 for Miami.
So in other words, choose your statistics carefully.
You bet. 3rd down and 10. The Chiefs rush 5. Marino's protected well, and he finds the open man. That's Mike Williams. But he loses the football, and Dale Carter is there for Kansas City.
Are they? I don't see anybody pointing down.
Not yet.
Normally, you get an official runs right up to that spot and is pointing to the ground.
Now they're saying he was down.
Darren Anderson.
Down by contest.
There you go.
Darren Anderson dislodged the ball, but not until the play had already been blown dead.
Oh, the key to that again. That took so long for Williams to come open. And as Marty Schottenheimer told us, they just build a wall around Marino. He gets the ball off, and you can see he's clearly down before the ball was stripped out.
Yeah.
But great pass protection for Dan Marino.
Jerry Markbright and his crew all over this one. His left knee, I think, is the first one to go down right there. And the ball doesn't come out until he's all the way over. That wasn't even close.
And that pass blocking was with 4 wide receivers. That meant the corners were very short for Kansas City. They still could not get to him.
First down at the 24. Under 4 minutes to go in the quarter. 7-0 Chiefs. Marino drops it underneath for Irving Fryer. And Fryer then laterals the ball to Saxon, who takes it inside the 2.
All right. Fasten your seatbelts, folks. I think we're getting a preview of what kind of an afternoon this is going to be.
Kansas City in their patented zone defense. Great call. Fryer underneath, coming way from the left side. Marino, again with good protection, is able to get it into him. But again, lots of time. There's Fryer underneath the zone. And now he'll get hit first by Whitmore, and just as Whitmore closes on him, he delivers the lateral and goes out to Saxon.
I'm sorry, that's not the trademark of a Don Shula team, and we've seen it twice our last 2 visits here.
First and goal. Here's Parmalee, and he gets about half the distance, or a little less. Tracy Rogers, 52, came in to bang him.
Don Shula's teams do not throw the football all over the field to each other like reminiscent of the old Atlanta Falcons when Deion Sanders was there.
If you throw it, Dan, and it causes a turnover, you're no longer on the team.
No, you're at the airport. We saw it the first time we were here. Gene Atkins intercepted the ball and flipped it to Troy Vincent. And now we've got, who knows?
Second down goal. Parmalee again. Touchdown, Miami.
We've got somebody from Miami down at the goal line.
Boy, this one is living up to the billboards.
Greg Beatty is the injured player, the backup tight end. Well, Montana takes Kansas City 80, and Marino says, well, I'll answer with a 72-yard drop.
What a block by Keith Sims, the left guard. There's a double team on Dan Saliamua, and they just eradicate the Chiefs' defensive line, and Bernie gets another one. Knows there's a lot of football left to be played, but good opening drive for the Dolphins. They countered the splendid one by the Chiefs.
Beatty comes off the field. Now Stoyanovich for the point after. Beatty appears to be all right. John Kidd to hold it. And with 2:20 remaining in the first quarter, this one was billed as Marino against Montana. How's that for an opening act? Hobby Stadium, a facility that opened in 1987 and named for the late Dolphin owner. The Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes, based in Pompano Beach, providing the aerials. And there's a Happy New Year greeting from one Neil Smith with the ever-present nose Band-Aid. I wonder what Elsa Clinch would say about that.
I think Neil would say the greeting would be a lot friendlier if it wasn't for the fact that Dan Marino and the Dolphins just went right down the field on them, and we'll check in with Elsa later.
Stoyanovich's kick is dropped out of bounds by John Vaughn. It'll be Kansas City ball, but inside the 20. So the Dolphins go down the field on their first possession. 72 yards. Marino was 4 of 5. 7-7 the score. Trying to stay cool. They'd be very cool if they were home. We understand 1 to 3 inches of snow expected today in Kansas City. But here in Miami, things are beautiful. Marcus Allen and Joe Montana led that first drive, but now Greg Hill, the rookie from Texas A&M, is in the game at the 17-yard line. Montana retreats, throws, and the catch is made by Keith Cash, who's been hurt much of the season. Healthy now, a vital part of their movement in the playoffs last year. Catches it here. Let's get an update from Lynn Swan. Lynn?
Al, thank you very much. You know, before the game started, I talked to both quarterbacks, Marino and Montana. Marino saying this is the only place he wanted to be. His health was fine. Montana said they wanted him to wear a knee brace before this game. He injured it last week. He said there's no way he was going to wear the brace. He said they approaches each game in the playoffs like it's the last game of the season, and you never want to go home a winner. A loser, that is, Al.
He is 7 for 7 is Montana for 80 yards. Pressure. He dumps it off. It is a forward pass, unless an incomplete pass, and it's Brian Brian Cox, who made his presence felt. Used to play outside linebacker, and earlier this season they moved him into the middle.
Oh, he got away with one there. Anders was, excuse me, the intended receiver.
You don't see that very often. Brian Cox lined up over center and loops all the way around and gets in on Joe Montana. Where you see Brian Cox coming in there from the right side, he started all the way over center. Really an unusual move by Olivedade and the Dolphins defense.
A minute and a half to go in the quarter. The game is tied at 7. It's 2nd and 10. Marcus Allen back in the game and carries out to the 43-yard line. Tackled by Stewart. ABC's wild card playoff game is being brought to you by Lincoln Mercury and the complete line of 1995 Lincoln and Mercury automobiles. Baked Tostitos. You've got Tostitos, you've got a party. And cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft. Get out of the old, get into the cold. 3rd and 6. Chiefs at their own 43. Go to throw. Catch is made by Anders. And it's a first down and a lot more. Cox trying to bump him down. And he's still running. And those missed tackles have just killed the Dolphins. He broke out of a tackle by Cox. He broke out of another tackle earlier. A 57-yard touchdown. Montana to Anders.
Oh, wow. Anders, the leading receiver. You can see why. He's a running back, and once he gets his hands on it, he turns it into something big. Breaking tackles down the sideline.
Well, Beavers had the initial coverage, and Beavers is too far to the inside. Yeah, but here's the one that really hurts.
And there is Troy Vincent
and
trying
that's
to get
Brian Cox.
Brian Cox, who does not take Anders off his feet.
Cox didn't even try to wrap him up. Brian Cox goes for the shoulder blow, thinking he's going to knock him down. No attempt to wrap up, and that proved fatal.
Lynn Elliott for the point after. This time the snap is good. Aguiar puts it down. And so the Chiefs have had the ball twice and have scored twice.
When you tackle, you have got to use your arm to wrap up. I think we're going to see Brian Cox right here. It's more like a block. He just puts the shoulder into him. It wasn't enough shoulder. The Miami defense getting together on the sidelines, and that's the type of a run by Kimball Anders after the catch that demoralizes the defense because of all the missed tackles. And superior effort by Anders. There was a good throw by Montana to get the thing started, but dismal tackling by the Miami Dolphins defense.
Lynn Elliott sends it to the 4-yard line. Irving spikes. Breaks the tackle. And then takes it out to the 42-yard line. Anthony Davis makes the stop after Saxon couldn't wrap him up at the 18, and a good block by O.J. McDuffie.
Again, here's another look at the beautiful outside positioning on the football from Montana. Frankie Smith, 29. There's his miss, but Brian Cox inexplicably doesn't wrap up, Frank.
And he did, and he knocked him right out of the arms of the intended tackle by Troy Vincent.
Joe,
you got to wrap those arms around.
Hey, I didn't plan on it, but I'll take it. That looked more like just a 7- or 8-yard completion. Ended up being a touchdown.
Marino begins to counter by hitting Saxon, and the former Chief gets it out to the 49. That's a pickup of 7.
O.J. McDuffie comes in there throwing himself around, trying to make a block downfield. Boy, you can tell it's a playoff football game. The intensity all around the field has just elevated several notches.
And McDuffie threw a nice block on the kick run back as well.
Look at McDuffie. That's Derek Thomas he levels.
A 6-time Pro Bowler, and he took him right out of it.
O.J. McDuffie, all of 5'10", 191.
Great quarter. Kansas City 14, Miami 7. And back we come after this message and a word from our ABC station.
Tonight at 6.
Derek Thomas was spending a little time over on the Kansas City sideline because of this. O.J. McDuffie on the right. Derek Thomas, not often you see a wide receiver tee off on a linebacker like that. And Derek, it hurt him. He took some time to gather himself.
2nd and 2 from the 50 as the second quarter begins with a Bernie Parmalee 1-yard gain. Second quarter, 14-7. Chiefs on top. Al Michaels with Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf, and Lynn Swann. AFC wildcard game in Miami. Earlier today, Green Bay advances in the NFC. They beat Detroit 16-12, and here are the numbers through the first 15 minutes of play.
Yeah, didn't come in late for this one.
No, and Brent and Dick, you know, we really wanted to be there, but unfortunately we had to be down here.
I want Brent's hat.
You can see domination yardage-wise going to the Kansas City Chiefs and to the scoreboard as well, where they've doubled them up.
3rd and 1 at the Chiefs' 49-yard line. Nice block to protect Marino, and the catch is made by Keith Jackson, and the tight end has a first down at the 29-yard line. Neil Smith put the pressure on, and Dan got the block he needed to continue the protection and pick up 20 on the throw.
Well, we're getting some great calls from the coordinators. Gary Stevens with that call. Either that or Dan changed it off. It was 3rd and real short yardage. You've got to figure they're going to go for a little bit of a play action, and Keith Jackson, their leading receiver, is wide open. But again, they have nobody getting close to Dan Marino on any of the pass plays.
It's Bernie Parmalee, I believe, that makes the block on Neil Smith that puts him down on the ground, that bought him that time. And that's a lot of pressure to put on a running back, because Smith is unblocked on the play and handed over to the back.
There's a toss back to Parmalee, and Bernie burrows to the 26-yard line. Tackled by Dan Saliamua.
Parmalee. It's a good thing Parmalee came along like he did. And there's Gary Stevens, the offensive coordinator, and that is Bernie Kosar, who is talking to Dan Marino, who obviously says, I can't hear it. They have had some problems here in the Miami area with the frequency. As a matter of fact, we've been told that sometimes, well, I don't know whether they're kidding or not, they said they've been picking up a pizza parlor.
Oh, this, boy, they'll be going wild now.
Kenneth, what's the frequency? That's 2nd and 8 at the 27-yard line. Marino throws, and the catch is made by Irving Fryer. A little bit of trivia. When you think of Irving, he's been around long enough. When he played with New England in the Super Bowl against Chicago in 1985, at the end of that season, January of '86, he scored New England's only touchdown in what was a 46-10 Chicago rout.
Mark Collins, single coverage. Marino reads it. Fryer reads it. Collins is pretty good man-to-man. He doesn't have great speed. He has great smarts. Of course, he's wearing a couple Super Bowl rings from the Giants, but he was stuck out there in an island against Fryer, who's having a great year.
3rd and 4 at the 23, early second quarter. Chiefs lead 14-7. Marino with that quick release, and the pass is incomplete. McDuffie looks for a flag. Dale Carter with the blanket coverage. No flag.
Dale Carter on the way to the Pro Bowl in his 3rd year, rookie of the year back in '92, and moved from left corner to right corner when Albert Lewis went to the Raiders, and having a good year. He'll play you very tight because he's got good ability, and he can certainly hold well too.
He kept that right hand on the back of McDuffie's jersey.
Now Stoyanovich for what will be a 40-yard field goal attempt. John Kidd to put it down. And Pete, one of the most accurate of all time, booms it through. 40-yard field goal. 12:15 left in the first half at Joe Robbie Stadium. Chiefs 14, Dolphins 10. Don Shula said to us, in 32 years of coaching, I can't remember ever having 3 consecutive games in which my team gave up a kick or punt return for a touchdown. We had to say, Don, there it is. No team in the history of the NFL had allowed returns for touchdowns in 3 straight games.
He's had to move his personnel around a lot. Parmalee was one of the great special teams players. He's playing now as an offensive running back. They've had to make a lot of moves like that.
How do you think?
They've lost key people on that special teams.
How do you think the special teams coach Mike Westhoff slept last night? Huh? You think he a little tossing and turning?
This guy keep you up. Stoyanovich kicks to Vaughn, who fumbled the last return, and John Vaughn brings it back out to the 28-yard line, and a scuffle ensues.
Just a little jousting. That's all that is.
Mini joust.
Locked up and joust.
Mike Westhoff, the Dolphins special teams coach. Here's a reminder tonight in prime time, New Year's Eve, the Flintstones, Yabba Dabba Doo, the ABC Family movie, followed by The Commish. And then tomorrow, Jan 1, America's Home Videos, the 1-hour special, Lois and Clark in a Dangerous Affair. Happy New Year 1995 tomorrow.
What we have going on here, a dangerous little affair between the Chiefs and the Dolphins.
Marcus Allen takes it up to the 31. That's a gain of 3.
Frank, what do you think that was with Marcus when we saw him in the first quarter over on the side? It looked like they were stretching out his back. I wonder if it's affecting him at all.
He's had a little back problem over the years. It goes with, post 30 years. They were working on the sacroiliac, and he's something he's perfectly comfortable with. We're not going to lose him because of that, I'm sure.
You can see there that Marcus went a long time between 100-yard games all the way back to 1988.
Over 6 years between 100-yard games, and what a day to do it, too, against his ex-mates in a critical game. This time he is stopped for next to no gain by Tim Bowens, who was selected as the AP Defensive Rookie of the Year last week. Joe Green, his position coach.
And mentor, first-round draft pick. He's been something.
I think there's a little pride there on Joe Green's part. Not bad there, huh? Touchdowns, both drives, 80 and 83 yards.
Yeah, but Montana is not concerned at all with any pass pressure, and the Dolphins, who have not been getting to the passer all year, are not getting even near him.
Crowd in a frenzy on 3rd and 6. Montana sets up the screen for Kimball Anders, and that's another Chiefs first down before Gene Atkins finally stops him. Dave Zott with a great block. The ball was down before the fumble.
Boy, Kansas City really having their way with the Miami defense, and they're mixing it up beautifully. The calls by Paul Hackett, that a little screen pass, and Miami's so concerned with getting the pass rush that they lack. They don't come into tonight with 29 sacks, and they're trying to get a pass rush, and they give up the screen, a big screen.
What a good block, as Al said, by Dave Zott, the left guard. The center, Grunhard, was downfield. Will Shields, the right guard, was in on it as well. Good running, good downfield blocking by the Chiefs offensive line.
You saw Hackett behind the glass. Montana throws. Burton makes the catch, but he was out of bounds. Incomplete. J.J. Burton covered on the play by J.B. Brown. 2nd and 10.
Not all that well either. Brown gives him a huge cushion. This ball is just thrown a little too far to the outside by Joe.
A little late.
Yeah.
And he had good protection. First bad pass of the afternoon for Montana.
He does a nice job of catching it with his left toe, but the right foot was already on the out-of-bounds line.
10 minutes left in the half. Kansas City 13-10, and Greg Hill picks up the first down. The rookie out of Texas A&M, and now a flag goes down after the play.
Are you going to get one bonehead award to Gene Atkins, who throws a punch? You know, they're locked up and jousting again, but Gene Atkins throws a right hand and gets seen. He's going with Willie Davis. The best the Dolphins can hope for here, I think, is that it's offsetting personal fouls.
And no ejection.
Well, neither punch was designed to hurt anybody, but it's something you don't do and get caught doing.
Well, it's an open field punch, too.
Atkins was one of the players that Olivadotti really wanted. He brought him in from New Orleans. You'll see it, number 28. And Hill trying to break it to the outside.
See, there they are right there. There's one, there's two, there's three. But here comes the biggie. There's the one that gets called. Atkins and Davis both.
Open hand, though.
You're not going to close it up, or you're going to blow a finger.
He didn't have a thumbless glove.
We have 2 dead ball fouls. Unnecessary roughness, 28 on Miami.
Give me your number, Willie.
And
number 84, Kansas City.
There you are.
Dead ball fouls, offsetting dead ball. It'll be first down.
Yeah, and that's looking at the way that Willie Davis participated. That's the only way to call it from an officiating standpoint. But you don't do your team any good, guys, if you're ejected from this thing.
Lamar Hunt, the owner of the Kansas City Chiefs, one of the original AFL owners, and a classy man right down the line.
One of the nice people of all time. Chiefs offense averaging almost 10 yards a play. Pretty lofty.
And a first down here, and Montana guns one to the open man at the 23-yard line. J.J. Burton makes the catch and takes it to the 21.
That might put them over 10 yards a play. With
Burton picking up where he left off 3 weeks ago. He had 10 receptions for over 130 yards here in the losing effort on the part of Kansas City, December the 12th. He has the speed to take it deep. You have to respect him. This time he just breaks under the Miami zone. Gets away from J.B. Brown and Gene Atkins.
How was my quick math, guys? He is over 10 on that, huh? I know one thing. It doesn't take quick math to tell you that the Miami Dolphins are generating no pass rush whatsoever.
First down from the 21. Montana drops it off to Allen. That's a pickup of 5, tackled by Aubrey Beavers.
Right now, if you're Tom Olivadotti, the defensive coordinator, and there, geez, I say it, there he is. You have got to be thinking to yourself, what do I have to do? Because my front four are not getting to the quarterback on their own. Do I blitz off the corners, up the middle?
Well, Dan, the first thing would come to your mind, why can't you blitz? I'll tell you, you blitzed till Montana, you were flirting with the disaster.
Yeah.
They pick it up well. He reads it as quickly as anyone ever has in this game. Hurry up with the call, he says.
Only 2 incompletions out of 13 attempts.
On 2nd and 5. Marcus Allen takes it down inside the 11. That's a first down. Another one on the 8th play of this drive. Chuck Klingbeil makes the tackle.
Chiefs were in this position against the Raiders, and Greg Hill, who was in the game at the time, fumbled the ball. I would suspect that Marcus Allen will do the majority of the work down around the goal line today as Hill.
Yeah, and Dan, they got Keith Cash back too. This is where they like to use. Montana used to use Brett Jones here all the time. Cash, a good receiver from that tight end spot.
First and 10. Underneath, this is Keith Cash, and he is ridden out of bounds near the line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd and 10. They can get a first down without a touchdown.
Miami must be reading the same script.
Yeah. Well, and they happened to have a blitz on to the side that Joe was rolling, and they got upfield. Beavers and Cross both, I think, forced Joe into be a little more active than he wanted to be. Joe Green, the Hall of Famer, and Olivadotti in the background. Joe Green blocks everybody out.
10th play of the drive coming up. 7:05 left in the half. Chiefs leading 14-10. Dawson in motion. Marcus Allen takes it just inside the 5 and then gets tackled.
Nice scrum.
Ooh, as long as you're not at the bottom of it.
Let's see where's
going to get it to him.
That surge actually was about 2 yards in Kansas City's favor. Let's see where they spot that ball.
Well, they can get a first down, can't they?
Yes, they can. It's well inside the 1 yard line.
This is Marcus is not providing the impetus on this surge. Some of his bigger friends are.
That's
Rugby Union.
That's a scrum.
3rd and a long 2 for a first down. They can get a first without getting it into the end zone. Montana pump fake then throws, and his arm may have been hit. It's incomplete.
He was trying to go to Eric Martin, number 85, and I'm not sure if Joe was expecting a zig and got a zag or vice versa, but there was some confusion there.
And Joe, who wanted 7, will now have to settle for a 3-point attempt.
I think he just got a little bit of fine coverage. Yep. It's 3-on-2 for the Dolphins. A good defensive call on the part of Olivadotti.
Now Lynn Elliott, a 21-yard field goal attempt. And he puts it through. So every drive in the game has resulted in points on both sides. 6:12 remaining in the first half, and the Chiefs are now up again by 7. From the Goodyear Blood Stars and Stripes, Joe Robbie Stadium in North Miami. Named for, as I mentioned before, the late owner of the Dolphins. This was his vision, and he made it happen.
Is this North Miami or South Fort Lauderdale?
North Miami. Look at this. And another good kickoff, this time by Lynn Elliott.
Mike Westhoff is so happy. So happy.
They'll start at the 20-yard line when we come back. The Atlantic Ocean in the distance. 6:06 left in the
First down. For Louis Aguiar's kickoff results in a touchback. Miami has it first down at the 20-yard line. Chiefs leading 17-10. Bernie Parmalee out of Ball State in Muncie, Indiana, picks up a yard and a half. This AFC wildcard game is being brought to you by Dodge. The more things change, the more things look like the new Dodge. Interstate batteries. We check them before you buy them for fresh, dependable power. And Miller Lite, you can expect great things from the great taste that's never watered down.
A little deception taking a look at those flags. I mean, they're blowing pretty stiffly up at the top of the stadium, and very little down on the field.
Really just a pleasant breeze down on the floor of this stadium. Beautiful day here in South Florida.
A caressing breeze. Second down and indeed 9 as Marino doesn't do that very often, but it turns out to be a 6-yard gain, one of the few in his recent career.
Remember, this is a team, though, that respects Marino's running. Dan ran one in for a touchdown against the Chiefs when we were here on that Monday night game on the 12th. So
yeah, it took so long to do it. He had a coffee break on it.
That's true. There was a timeout on his way to the goal line. So
turn the speed on. Plant that right foot.
In fact, and he rolled out to his right the same way he did there. So I think Dan Marino on the loose now may throw fear into the heart of the Chief defense.
Into Don Shula. Third down and 4. Marino guns one. It's caught by McDuffie, and he has the first down out of the 34-yard line, tackled by Charles Mincy.
Did you see the second guy in right there? The guy who was sneaking up, it was Derek Thomas. Don't you know he wouldn't like a shot at O.J.?
O.J. he had the first when he caught the ball, stepped back, he kind of lost it, but he has been their third down go-to guy many times. That's his 42nd reception of the year, his 32nd first down. And here's McDuffie playing mostly because Mark Ingram is injured and can't go.
Mincy gets him down, but there came 58 into the picture. Remember that big shot that O.J. McDuffie put on Thomas. A long day.
From the 34, Marino fires. It's caught in Kansas City territory by Irving Fryer at the 48-yard line. Tackled by William White, another Miami first down, 18-yard gain.
Marino loves to go up deep. He likes to take it high, but he has to take what Kansas City is going to give him. He practiced against Detroit's zone defense a week ago. He was patient. He threw underneath. He got the completions, moved the markers, and this is what they do once again. Kansas City laying off in their zone, and Fryer working underneath, getting good yardage.
Marino is 9 of 11 for 117 yards. Now Parmalee lines up in the slot to the right. James Saxon the sole setback. Marino deep down the near sideline, and that's incomplete. There's a flag down.
And the flag appeared to involve Carter and McDuffie.
Well, we saw Carter earlier grab a hold of McDuffie. This time McDuffie gave him a little move to the inside and broke it deep. Did he grab him again?
Illegal hands to the face. Number 34, defense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's Dave Adolph, the defensive coordinator of the Kansas City Chiefs and the architect of their system. Let's see if we can see that hands to the face. Well, boy, that was not a lot, but it was an attempt by Carter to grab, and he got it up around the face mask. But still, that was not all that big a deal.
First down, Miami at the 43-yard line. 3:14 to the half. Chiefs up by 7. Irving spikes. Irving takes it to the 37-yard line. Picking and threading and picking up about 6.
One of those rare free agent spikes from Northeast Louisiana, and he put a run on against Detroit last week that you would pay to see over again. He is a good slashing type runner. He's 5'8", 215 pounds, and kind of reminds you of Emmitt Smith a little bit, and Barry Sanders, at least in that stature, and he will bounce off tacklers. Had a big senior year at Northeast Louisiana of over 1,500 yards, and they like him a lot here.
Second down and 4 at the 37-yard line. Marino. And down he goes. He gets sacked for the first time today, and it would figure Derek Thomas.
Well, he had 11 during the regular season, and now he puts Dan down here in the playoffs. And, you know, for Derek Thomas, how sweet that must be. He's from Miami. He's a star at Miami South High School, and quick quick. Watch this move here against Heller. Yep, there's that move to the inside, and again, it's that left shoulder of Ron Heller, and a good look there at how he wasn't able to react back with any strength and stop him, Frank.
There's no mercy, is there, in this game? And you better believe that Jerry Thomas knows that it's the left side that's bothering Heller.
Nope, and they'll go after it all day long until Heller is either able to compensate, get help, or get replaced.
And Miami has to take a timeout because the play clock was running out, but it's before the 2-minute warning. Timeout, Dolphins. Before that last play, and the game clock were almost in sync. Originally, I think Marino thought he could go all the way to the 2-minute warning, then realized he had to take a timeout. So it's 3rd and 12 with 2:02 to play in the half. He needs 12, and he hits Williams, and he is out of bounds at the 37-yard line.
Oh, boy, this brings up an interesting call
with the tackle. And it's going to be Miami's ball at the 36-yard line, the 2-minute warning. It is 4th down and 3. If the Dolphins were to elect to kick a field goal, Pete Stoyanovich would be looking at about a 54-yarder, the longest ever in postseason play, a 58-yarder by Stoyanovich in a game between these two teams 4 years ago here in a wild card game. But right now, the Dolphins line up to go for it with 1:56 to the half. 4th down and 3.
Well, if they don't get it, they're going to leave Kansas City in great field position with timeouts.
1:56 remaining in the half. KC up by 7. Marino pressured, guns it, open man McDuffie. First down to the 18-yard line.
Whoa, boy. How good was that?
Well, how good
under enormous duress, waited, and finally delivered at the last second.
But a great job by the Dolphin offensive linemen of hanging with their guys, staying on a block longer than you normally would have to, but knowing the importance of a 4th down play. And quite frankly, it looked to me like some of the Chiefs defensively just gave up on it.
Boy, what presence on the part of Marino. He feels those bodies all around him. Knows it's his own man, gets the completion.
1st and 10 at the 19-yard line. Marino guns it over the middle again to Keith Jackson. He takes it to the 10-yard line. Appears to be a little short of the first down. Tackled by Whitmore. The Dolphins have 2 timeouts remaining and spend one of them here.
Well, they'll save one if they need it for the field goal. This is a good time to talk it over, however, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Keith Jackson, leading receiver over the season, a big target. Started out, as you probably recall, Philadelphia had a great rookie season there, 81 receptions, and has performed so well down here since he came as an unprotected free agent in '93.
It'll be 2nd and 1 from the 10. Dave Adolph's defense trying to dig in, trying to protect the lead.
There's so many relationships here. Dave Adolph was with Marty Schottenheimer at Cleveland '85, and Marty also had Tom Olivadotti. Gave him his first defensive coordinating job in Cleveland in 1985. So many relationships.
Well, the thing with over a minute left to go and the 1 timeout is that you have time to do anything you want to do offensively. You can run it, you can pass to the middle of the field, you can pass short and try to run it in. You are really not under a great deal of constraints time-wise.
2nd and inches at the 10. Marino under heavy pressure floats one into the arms of Aaron Craver, and Craver is out of bounds at the 2. One official started to signal touchdown, and the other had a better view and said no, he's not in.
Boy, what a hit by Mincy.
Right, the official working the goal line, who has the line of sight to the goal line and sees the ball cross the goal line, he calls it a touchdown. But the official working the sideline, who's able to see when the ball goes out of bounds, he's the one who rolls it off.
This is no touchdown. Yep. This is a great hit.
Yep, take a look at that right there. Well, I'm not so sure that wasn't a touchdown. Looked to me like he got the football inside the pylon, didn't he?
His foot was out just at about the 2-yard line, and now this is Bernie Parmalee taking it to the 1.
Did the foot go out of bounds?
I thought the foot went out of bounds.
The ball did.
Inside the 2.
Okay, if the foot is out, then of course it is out.
Meanwhile, the clock ticks down. Miami conserves its last timeout. Take another look. The left foot goes
out. Oh, there
out
it
at
is.
the
Okay.
1.5.
You're right. The foot is out. The ball wasn't. Good call by the official.
2nd and goal. They give it to Parmalee, and he can only get it to the half-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down now.
And here's their last timeout.
Remember, they had to burn that 1 timeout just prior to the 2-minute warning. So now they're out of timeouts.
Well, if you got a Dan Marino, you're going to talk over your options at the sidelines with Don Shula. You know he's going to protect the football for you. You're going to have to throw it into the end zone, of course. And good coverage coming over the top. Number 52, Tracy Rogers. A little bit of hesitation on that. Good penetration on the part of the Kansas City Chiefs defense.
That was just the Chiefs getting underneath the Dolphins offensive line and not allowing them to get any movement. Rogers actually went so high, he went clear over the top of Bernie Parmalee.
This is a big hit by Charles Mincy.
Yeah, let's go back and look at that again. There is the foot out of bounds.
Drove Craver out of bounds, forced that left foot to go out of bounds. That was a great recovery on the part of Mincy.
And it's a good look at the coordination that goes on between officiating crew. The one guy called it in his area of responsibility, which was looking at the ball and the goal line. And the other official, whose area of responsibility was the sideline, was all over it.
It is 3rd down and goal. Everybody up on the front line for Kansas City. And Marino's going to go to the air, backpedaling and looking and throwing for the touchdown to Ronnie Williams.
And Vaughn Booker is all over Dan Marino. And Dan Marino makes him miss. He is in Marino's face. And Frank, that's a nifty little move by Dan Marino to get away from him.
Twice on this drive, Marino, with unbelievable pressure, has the presence and the cool and the heart, if you will, to get the completion. And I don't know, you look at Montana, he orchestrates an offense. Marino just dominates an offense. He's going to make it happen.
You don't have to be fast for 20 yards. Just be fluid for a yard or two. Watch this move right there. Number 99, Booker, has a free shot at Dan Marino, and Dan, with that little sidestep to the outside, gets away and gets a touchdown for his reward.
Stojanovic with the point after. Ronnie Williams had not scored a point in his career. Picked a pretty good time, didn't he?
That he did.
Well, Marino, Montana, glamour matchup. So often these games don't come close to living up to advanced billing, but what a half this has been. What a beauty.
I couldn't agree with you more, Al. This is everything we hoped it would be. Again, watch the right of your screen. There's Booker, and look at Marino. Not much, just a couple yards worth of work, but enough to buy him the time.
Dan, you said something so true about both these quarterbacks. They're not the kinds of quarterbacks who are going to beat you running the football, but they have such presence in the pocket. They have a sense, a feel about where people are, and believe me, when you're down there at a different level, a different plane of action, you just see flashes, you hear sounds, you feel things, and these two guys, Montana and Marino, do it as well as anyone has ever done it.
The answer you get a lot of times from a great player when you say, why did you do this? A lot of times the greatest players give you the answer, I don't know. It's instinct. It's instinct.
Coming up at the half, Boomer Esiason joins John Saunders in New York. They'll also visit with Steeler coach Bill Cowher. I had a chance to visit with Don Shula yesterday. Speaking of Bill Cowher, if Kansas City wins this game, they go to Pittsburgh next weekend. If Miami wins this game, they go to San Diego next weekend. Loser, of course, goes home.
And we come back here January 29th.
January 29th, 4 weeks from tomorrow. 22 seconds remaining in a spectacular first half. The game tied at 17. Stojanovic to kick off. Each team with 3 possessions in the half, and each possession resulting in points. this one, but it's taken up at the 21-yard line by one of the up people, Dana Hughes. Quarterback comparison, and keep in mind that last Miami drive was kept alive by that 4th and 3 completion, and there are the numbers through the first half of play. Terrific.
Two guys that have thrown for over 7,000 completions, over 85,000 yards, up teams touchdowns, over 600 of them.
And what do they have between them? They have 5 incomplete passes out of 31 attempts. That's not too, and 3 touchdowns. That's pretty decent first half for both those guys, to say the least.
Chiefs will be content to go into the game time. A little kneel down by Montana at the 30. Just a fabulous first half at Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami. Kansas City 17, Miami 17, and we'll return after this word from our ABC stations.
AFC Wild Card Halftime Report, brought to you by Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. From our studio in New York, your host, John Saunders.
And at the end of the half, Kansas City 17, Miami 17. I'm joined by Boomer Esiason, and interesting in this game, with the exception of Kansas City running out the clock at the end of the half, every single drive resulted in a score.
I think I heard Al Michaels say, what a fabulous game. Well, it's fabulous unless, of course, you're the defensive coordinators for each of these two teams. Right now, both of these quarterbacks are just absolutely playing at such a high level. The poise and the grace that they're showing, it's just beautiful to sit here and watch it as a contemporary quarterback.
Yeah, this one had all the offense. Earlier today, we had a game that had very little offense in it. Green Bay comes away with the victory in the NFC as Dorsey Levens going in from 3 yards out, but defense was the story.
It was the story. Reggie White led the Packer defense, did not give Barry Sanders a breath all day to make any yards.
I think our plan was just to go and attack him. And Barry, I mean, you can never take nothing away from a guy like that. I mean, for us to do what we did against him, it's a tremendous effort. And, you know, like I said, you can't take nothing away from him. Barry, to me, is the best running back in the league. And for us to do what we did today, I think that has a lot to say for our defense.
Barry Sanders minus a yard, a career low, but they still had a chance.
Well, there was a questionable call at the end of the half, at the end of the game here, whether or not Herman Moore would have come down in bounds, or whether or not he was knocked out or pushed out. But I think it was a good call by the official and a valiant effort by Detroit.
So Green Bay gets the victory. They're the first team to advance out of the wild cards. Of course, there's a couple of teams that had first-round byes, including the Pittsburgh Steelers. And joining us now is Bill Cowher, their head coach. Bill, I have to ask you about this AFC matchup. What's your impression of the first half?
Well, obviously, sitting here, it was very impressive. And I think what you're seeing is a classic case of really two quarterbacks playing very, very well, more so than the case of two defenses playing poorly.
Coach, I have a question for you. I know at this point we really don't know who your opponent's going to be next week, but I would imagine that there's a burning desire by you and your players to get a shot at Kansas City after what happened last year at this time in Kansas City.
Well, there's no question. We're looking forward to our first playoff game, Boomer. You know, we've gone to the playoffs the last 2 years and have really come away with kind of an empty feeling both those years. So we're kind of anxious that next week will come around, and we're just going to be anxious to play whoever we may face in the first round.
Coach, you like to have the bye. It gives you a chance to get your players healthy and whatever. What's the mood of the team right now with this bye week and heading in with a chance to finally end a string of AFC losses in the Super Bowl, perhaps?
Well, I think the last 2 years has given us some maturity, to be quite honest with you. You know, we've come away, as I stated, with 2 losses. But at the same time, I think this year's football team, there's a good mix of youth, of experience, and I think it's going to pay off in the playoffs. And we're just kind of looking forward to taking it one game at a time, but we certainly have some very high expectations.
And, of course, your defense, one of the main reasons you are where you are, and Dom Capers is your defensive coordinator. Peter King of Sports Illustrated tells us that the word is that Dom Capers is headed to Carolina as the new coach of the Panthers. You know anything about that?
Well, I'm certainly not going to speculate about that, but I think what you're going to see is a staff and a group of men and really an organization that when the weekend's over, we're kind of looking forward to whoever is going to have to come into Pittsburgh and play us.
All right, Coach. Congratulations on a terrific season. Congratulations to your daughter, Megan, as well, who was along for the interview, and we'll see you next week. And we'll continue with more in just a moment, including Don Shula. We'll get a chance to hear from him as he sits down with Al Michaels. Back as we continue. 17-17 is your score. Kansas City and Miami. The second half is straight ahead. Don Shula trying to return to the Super Bowl, and recently he sat down with our Al Michaels.
Don, you've had a spectacular 25-year run as coach of the Dolphins, highlighted by the undefeated season of 1972. Was there ever any point during the 25 years when you were close to leaving this organization?
I can't honestly say that there was. I've always enjoyed doing what I do for a living. And I could never think of anything I'd rather be doing than coaching football. And that's the reason that each and every time my contract came up every 3 years when it was time to make a decision, I always felt that this is what I want to do. This is what I look forward to doing. There isn't anything I'd rather be doing. And as long as I enjoy it, you know, I very much look forward to it.
Will this long run continue? Have you decided whether you will coach again in 1995?
Well, I look forward to it. There is no question about that. I haven't decided that I'm not going to coach, and I signed a 2-year extension on my contract this past year, so I have this year and then 2 more years, and I can make whatever decision that I want to make in that time frame.
Is it important to you to be involved in the process of selecting your eventual successor?
Well, I would like to be able to help. You know, I've got the opportunity to be involved in ownership in the future with the Dolphins, and if Wayne Huizenga needs any help and expertise in areas where I think that I can help him, I would be very, very glad to be able to do that.
Don, what do you think about the intense, in a way, and certainly ongoing media speculation that you will eventually step down and Jimmy Johnson will become the next head coach of the Miami Dolphins?
Well, I can assure you that whatever decision that I make won't be affected by what Jimmy Johnson does or doesn't do. I'm going to continue to make the decisions that I feel that I should make for my own personal career, for my family, and everything that everybody that's been connected with me over the past and has meant so much to the success that I've had. And the fact that Jimmy's out there, I can't do anything about that. And my only course of action is to do what I feel is right for the Miami Dolphins and for Don Shula.
When you look at some of the young coaches in the league right now, Dave Wannstedt, Bill Cowher, Dave Shula, what would you say to them? I mean, what's the secret? How could they keep going as long as you have?
Well, I think the important thing is that they have to enjoy what they're doing. I think it's important that you have success early in your career because you might not have the opportunity to eventually have success. That's what's happening, I think, nowadays more than ever before. There's more pressure. There's more scrutinization by the media. Everybody is on top of every situation, and you have to answer to it each and every Monday after the Sunday game. And so there's a lot more pressure than there were in the early years of my coaching career.
All right, Don and Al, thank you very much. The second half is coming up. For some college football news, in the Liberty Bowl, Illinois is shutting out East Carolina 30-0. A reminder, January 2nd, triple header. We begin with the CompUSA Florida Citrus Bowl, Alabama against Ohio State. At 4:30, it's the Rose Bowl. Penn State trying for a national championship as they take on the Ducks of Oregon. Then at 8:30 Eastern Time, the USF&G Insurance Sugar Bowl, Florida State and Florida in the rematch. Boomer Esiason, thank you very much for joining us all day long.
I've had a great time today, John. Happy New Year to you and yours. I look forward to a great second half. Which quarterback will make the big mistake?
All right, as much as we liked having you here, we hope you're playing next year during the playoffs.
Okay,
all right, we'll continue
good.
with more in just a moment. The second half is coming up.
A poll in recent years has indicated that football is the favorite sport of most people in this country, and it's because of games like this. No question about it.
This is a beauty. I don't know if you're aware of it. No punts whatsoever. I'm nothing against kickers, but I like that kind of game, Dan.
And you've got two quarterbacks that are both on fire, and it seems to me when you've got a tie score at halftime, the team that can put pressure on the other guy's quarterback the most here in the second half and avoids mistakes is going to be the team that wins this football game. The only one sack in the game so far, and that's where Derek Thomas got to Dan Marino and put him down. But if there is no pressure on either side, we're looking at a 34-34, 42-38, some wild score like that coming up.
I'll take it.
Yeah, we'll take it, but you might have a couple coaches that have heart attacks during the process.
Overtime, maybe. it has the feel of whoever has the ball last.
Well,
it's that kind of game.
If you have any sense of history about this league, savor what you're watching here, folks, between Marino and Montana.
Here's Louis Aguiar kicking off. It's taken at the 4-yard line by O.J. McDuffie, who begins the second half with a nice run back out to the 37-yard line. Both quarterbacks brilliant in the first half. Every drive resulting in points. And here are the numbers for the first 30 minutes of play. 422 total yards.
Those two goose eggs. Yep, still not a turnover in this game, and we all know the importance of turnovers in playoff football.
Kansas City plus 12 coming into this game in the takeaway giveaway ratio. Miami flat even.
Dolphins at the 36-yard line. The fake. Marino rolling and throwing, and the catch is made by Irving Fryer in Kansas City territory at the 46-yard line.
They go right back to work on Mark Collins. Marino reading the single coverage on the rollout. Collins giving so much yardage to Irving Fryer, respecting Fryer's ability to go deep. Collins not one of the speediest corners. I talked about it earlier. He's a very heady corner, but he can get in trouble with speed, and slipped a little bit to coming back to Fryer.
18-yard gain. First down Miami at the Chief 46-yard line. Deep drop, and then Bernie Parmalee makes the catch. Inside the 40, the 30, down to the 20-yard line.
Beautifully executed screen pass. Dan Marino gave up close to 15 yards, drifting back, setting this thing up. Got some good blocks out front.
Kansas
Widener, Dellenbach.
Bad tackling on their own, too.
Oh. But boy, did he have to give some ground. There's Bernie with the ball. There's the first block on Minuski by Widener. That gets it started. Then some missed tackles. Finally, William White is the guy that has to bring him down. But, geez, was that set up nicely by Dan Marino.
Irving spikes the tailback, the fake to Spikes, and then Saxon drops the ball. Started to look ahead. There's a marker down.
That flag coming in where you usually get one for a hold, and it's going to work against the Dolphins.
Holding, number 60, offense. 10 yards, first down.
Joe Phillips making a move to the inside against Bert Widener, and he tried to save his quarterback and gets the flag.
Keith Byers there listening. That's probably Bernie Kosar's helmet.
Might be ordering a pizza.
Yeah, that's, well, he might be.
That's frequency popping in here every now and then.
Yeah, he's listening in on Bernie's helmet. Bernie's on a headset. And the starting backfield for the Dolphins is on the sidelines. Terry Kirby and Keith Byers.
First and 20. Irving spikes inside the 20, inside the 10, a first down to the 6-yard line, tackled by Carter.
Now you see why they wanted to get him into the game. He's hard to bring down, and he covered that ball so well, and Miami wants to go with a hurry-up offense before Kansas City can change their defense. At Kansas City is going to have to call timeout.
Boy, nice play by the Dolphins, forcing the Chiefs to burn a timeout.
By this guy.
Oh, yeah.
How that was.
Beautiful blocking up front for Irving Spikes. That's one way to make a first and 20 disappear.
First and goal when we come back. Opening drive of the second half, the Miami Dolphins and the Kansas City Chiefs tied 17-17. Marty Schottenheimer sort of shaking his head as the Dolphins have taken it all the way down to the 6-yard line. First and goal. Bernie Parmalee is the tailback. Toss to Parmalee. And he gets taken down on a nice tackle by Derek Thomas.
Well, Thomas beat off the block of James Saxon. That's the matchup right at the point of attack, and Thomas just dispatches Saxon. Watch it. Saxon will come in from the right. Derek gives a little ground, throws him off to the side, and boy, that's why he's a Pro Bowl football player.
Richmond Webb had done a great job on McCall, taking him down. Had Saxon even got a piece of Derek Thomas, that was 6 points.
Marino out of the shotgun on second and goal. Four-man rush. Saxon drops it again. That's the same pass he dropped just a couple of moments ago on a play that was negated by a penalty.
Well, I'll tell you, that sometimes happens when you put the ball in there so perfectly like Marino did, and Saxon was thinking about running the ball, going to turn for the flag, took his eyes off the ball and lost it.
Not a big series here so far for James Saxon.
You can watch his almost see his head come off it.
He misses the lead block on 1st and goal, drops the pass on 2nd and goal. I bet you James Saxon would really like an opportunity to redeem himself. I don't think it'll come this series, though, because he's not even in the game.
Right, Aaron Cravers, the 3rd down back. Chiefs show blitz. Here they come. They pick it up. Marino lost one. Touchdown to Irving Fryer.
Well, this drive was the Irving show. Fryer and Spikes.
The Kansas City Chiefs were reading the play clock, which had counted down to 3. They came with their blitz, timing it out with the snap they knew Marino had to pull off right before he would violate the play clock. And that was a perfectly laid up football. The little fade pattern, perfect touch.
And Dale Carter never saw the football.
Never saw it, no.
No, he's playing the receiver all the way.
Another great drive.
And was playing him too far off.
Stoyanovich.
Oh, boy. What a game.
3 minutes into the 3rd quarter. Miami 24, Kansas City 17. In South Florida on this New Year's Eve 1994 wild card game, and it's been a wild game. 24-17 Miami. Pete Stoyanovich to kick off. John Vaughn back to receive. An angled kick. Vaughn on the run at the 9. Back out to the 28-yard line. James Saxon makes the tackle. No punch in the game. Every possession resulting in points. Let's take a look first at the Dolphins. They've had the ball 4 times, 3 touchdowns, and a field goal.
I bet that makes Dave Adolph, the Kansas City defensive coordinator, thrilled beyond belief.
And on the other side, you've got 2 touchdowns, a field goal, and that other one was simply a kneel down to run out the clock for Kansas City at the end of the 1st half.
That just makes Tom Olivedati of the Dolphins a little less pleased. He's not as bad off as Dave Adolph.
Crowd in a frenzy. Montana stumbles as he retreats, but regains his balance and then has it knocked down. A flag goes down. It looked like Marco Coleman batted it. Jerry Markbright, the referee.
The foul is illegal touching of a forward pass. The ball hit number 76. The penalty is loss of down only. 2nd down.
John Alt, 6'8". Understandable. Good coverage by the part of the Dolphins. Montana looked off one receiver, tried to get to another one, and just good coverage downfield.
Loss of down only, as Markbright stated. 2nd down, 10. Chiefs at the 28. Kimball Anders finds a little bit of room, but Brian Cox is there to stop him after a pickup of 2.
Well, I think Roar went up partially because of the missed tackle on the touchdown run of Anders earlier by Brian Cox. This time he got the hit and also wrapped the arms around. Number 51, watch him. Good solid tackle here.
Well, to his credit, Brian Cox and his move to the middle, which was the 2nd week of the season, is the reason Miami has improved so much. He's going to the Pro Bowl this year as a middle linebacker. He went 2 years ago as an outside linebacker. Give him credit.
3rd and 8. Joe stepping away. Has to get to the 38 for a 1st down. He's a little short. He's tackled at the 36 by Michael Stewart. 4th down.
Joe being a little tentative. He knew exactly where he had to go. He also knew that he was not going to get there. He also knew he wanted to be in on the next series.
But that's one of the rare times to actually get a look at the 94 version of Joe Montana versus the 84 version. The 84 version would have run for a first down easily, but Joe right there, Frank, you said it was very smart. No need to pull a muscle or hurt himself.
Louis Aguiar, who has never had a punt block in his career, booms a beauty, and a fair catch is called for at the 11-yard line by O.J. McDuffie. That's a 53-yard Aguiar kick. Henford out to Pasadena, the Arroyo Seco for Penn State against Oregon, beginning at 4:30 Eastern, and then Florida State against Florida, the USF&G Sugar Bowl, and with the Orange Bowl being played tomorrow night in Miami, the Sugar Bowl plays in the clear Monday night right here on ABC.
And back here at the old dry wash. And back here at the Arroyo Dolphino.
Right. Miami now from the 12-yard line. It's Irving Spikes for a first down after the 26, and a flag comes in at the end of the play. William White made the tackle.
What a massive hole in the middle of the Kansas City defense, and I guess that's why.
Ooh, one thing he does not like, including laterals, is a holding call.
It is.
Or an official who calls it.
All right, let's look in the middle here. 75 is Joe Phillips. He's working against Sims. Off on the left-hand side, we see Tracy Simeon. He's working over there with Dellenbach.
Holding number 65, offense. Penalty from the spot of the foul. 10 yards, first down.
So it's Dellenbach and Tracy Simeon, and Dellenbach gets the call.
I guess in the overall scheme of things, Dan, is pretty picky. But you see, when you run a replay, I thought they could have called Keith Sims myself.
It's just the way the rules have been liberated for offensive linemen on run blocking and what they can do. It looks like there's holding taking place on every play.
It creates a 1st and 13 from the 10-yard line, and Irving Spikes is stopped for no gain. Let's get an update from Lynn Swan. Lynn?
Thank you, Al. You know, we're seeing in the second half kind of what Don Shula told me about the first half. I asked him about that 4th and 3 situation. He said, you've got to give in the big ball game your offense a chance to win it for you, and we've seen them come out in the second half and do it. I also talked to Keith Jackson, who left the field early. Keith is suffering from a 24-hour flu. He went in halftime and got an IV. He says he's okay. He's going to give it his best here throughout the second half. Al?
All right, Lynn, that flu is making the rounds through the Dolphin camp this week. Tim Irwin has it, doesn't it? Well, Marino had a touch of it earlier in the week. Right. 2nd and 13. Here is Spikes. He takes it to the 15-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 8. ABC's AFC wildcard game is being brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. If you've driven a Ford lately. Mud Bowl 7. This year, it's going to be a whole new ball game. And McDonald's, what you want is what you get at McDonald's today.
Well, if you drive a Ford and drink Bud and go to McDonald's, this is just a perfect game for you.
Absolutely. Good trifecta. 3rd down and 8 at the 15. 4:35 left in the 3rd quarter. Miami with the ball and a 7-point lead. 3-man rush. Marino throws. It's almost intercepted by Darren Anderson. But it will create Miami's first punt. Mike Williams, the intended receiver.
And nearly our first turnover for Miami. Dave Adolph saying, oh, wow, can we hold on to anything? The zone, Marino trying to squeeze it right in between the defenders. A risky one, to say the least.
Well, we've got a guy who's exciting back there, Dale Carter. He can make things happen.
Here's the kick by John Kidd. 48 yards taken at the 37-yard line.
Oh. He can. Thanks, Dale.
7-yard run back.
He looked like a quail squatting down in some deep brush. Here comes the dog.
Just plain smart to fly Southwest, the low-fare airline. Dolphin safety Dick Anderson intercepted 4 passes, returning 2 of them for touchdowns.
On 3rd down and 8, Gilliam back, good protection. Oh, and it's picked off. Anderson, Dick Anderson. Dick Anderson, touchdown, and did he read that beautifully?
On the way to yet another Pro Bowl, and that is a good look at a football player. He's played through this season with a broken thumb, surgery. He had a dislocated elbow. He had an ankle injury, and he has started 13 games, played in 14, and he is leaving his heart out here today. You just have to admire these guys. They started this game back in July, and there is no tomorrow for whoever loses it tonight.
You okay, Al?
Al almost lost it in the booth.
I know one thing we need to fix before the Super Bowl. It's called a chair.
This is really a good game when you're falling off your chair over here.
Absolutely, literally. Kansas City 1st and 10 at the 44-yard line. Montana throwing to Lake Dawson, and the rookie from Notre Dame, an emerging young wide receiver, is out of bounds near the 50-yard line. His first catch.
That's a nice looking play, because what it looks like initially is that Dawson is a blocker as he comes out, locks up with one of the Dolphins. He's the motion man, holds that block for about 2 seconds, then releases.
Watch the stiff arm.
Yep.
He's a big wide receiver at 205 pounds. He throws a left stiff arm in there.
J.B. Brown takes the brunt of that. But he initially is fighting off Marco Coleman and then releases. Good looking play.
2nd and 3. Marcus Allen taken down a little shy of the first down. Brian Cox in there along with Aubrey Beavers.
Defense problems for Tom Olivadotti complicated today when Collier at the right linebacker couldn't go earlier in the year. Beavers is in there, as a matter of fact, because they lost Chris Singleton after 11 games. So they are really playing with their second-string linebackers on both corners.
3rd and a very short 2. Double tight end set. Here's Marcus, and he does not make it.
I don't think so either.
First down. Tim Bowens was right there.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Well, the rookie Bowens is going to be in on that.
You can't ever say anything until you see where the ball is spotted, but if that is spotted for first down,
yeah, no,
that's an unbelievably generous spot.
No.
Tough to run in that middle against Bowens and Klingbeil. You don't hear much about Klingbeil, but he is tough against the run.
Yeah, he's rock solid. Not a great pass rusher, but he is a short, solid, low center of gravity guy that's tough to root off the line of scrimmage. 6'1", 301 pounds. That's
good. Stay away from dogs.
He ain't wearing no medium golf shirt. Louis Aguiar to punt. O.J. McDuffie back to receive it. McDuffie calls for a fair catch and makes it at the 19-yard line. Miami has the ball back. 6:24 left in the 3rd in the wild card game in Miami, where the Dolphins family moving, and then the commish, and then New Year's Rockin' Eve all tonight, and then tomorrow America's Funniest Home Videos, a 1-hour special. Lois and Clark will come your way, and a world premiere movie, A Dangerous Affair. Miami, dusk, 24-17.
That chamber comments or not?
Dolphins up by 7 at the 19-yard line. Dan Marino throws. The catch is made by Bernie Parmalee. No turnovers in the game. Coaches are always stressing we can't have turnovers. It's particularly true in postseason.
And what do we have? 30 playoff games where the loser of the turnover differential is also the loser of the game. And here we have a game, as Al said, with no turnovers. So you have to think, looking at past history, the guy who turns this thing over here is in trouble.
Go back 3 weeks ago, Miami 45, Kansas City 28. 3 interceptions against Bono in that game.
2nd and 2. Here's Parmalee breaking one for a first down. Dan mentioning there have been 30 consecutive postseason games going all the way back to 1991 in which there was a differential. And the team with the fewer ones has won every game. There have been some games, including the Detroit-Green Bay game today, where there were no turnovers at all, so no differential in that mix. But you go back to the Raider-Cincinnati Bengal game at the end of the 1990 season, Jan 91. That's the game in which Bo Jackson ended his career, suffered that hip injury, and that's the last time one team had more turnovers than the other and won the game.
I know you think coaches speak in cliches, and that's one of the first, well, we just can't afford to turn the ball over. Well, they speak the truth.
Here's an end around to McDuffie, who turns it through the middle around. And he
He takes it to the Chief 48-yard line. Tackled by Carter.
We've seen it all.
You don't draw it like that way.
An end around that ends up back where he started.
That was basically ugly, and McDuffie and Marino both having a chuckle over it. But
that's an end around with one man reverse, Frank.
That was a mess. But McDuffie turns it into something. There he is, number 81. Timing all fouled up and read by Tracy Simeon, the middle linebacker. He was waiting for McDuffie. McDuffie put the brakes on, took it back, as you said, Dan, right where he came from, and gets good yardage.
1st and 10 at the 48 of Kansas City. Spikes, Rule on the outside. Coming up to the game. Nice tackle from the corner is Mark Collins, the former Giant.
Oh, that is a good tackle. We told you the dimensions of Spikes, 5'8", 215 pounds, the lowercase Barry Sanders, and Mark Collins is known as a good tackler. He doesn't have that great speed anymore at the corner, but he made a fine stop against Spikes.
That was a good tackle by Collins, but I'm impressed with how quickly Irving Spikes got to the corner. For a man of his size, he has got an explosive burst to the corner. And, boy, this is a rookie that you think is going to be around with the Dolphins for a long time.
6 carries for Spikes, 47 yards. On 2nd and 6, Marino throwing, and it's incomplete. And naturally, we sing his praises, and Irving drops one.
Yeah. Well, he didn't do a whole lot of that Northeast Louisiana. He actually, we told you he's from Northeast Louisiana. He went 2 years to Alabama, transferred to Northeast Louisiana, was not drafted. He's a pure free agent. 1,500 yards as a senior rushing. When you rush for 1,500 yards, you're usually not on the business end of a whole lot of passes.
Goodyear blimp stars and stripes floating above Joe Robbie Stadium in the gloaming.
In the gloaming?
In the glow, almost looks like a painting. 3rd and 6 at the 43-yard line. And the catch is made by Scott Miller, who's been around for a long time. Flag comes in at the end. He's got a 1st down.
Very late.
Seldom used wide out in his 4th year from UCLA.
We said in the 1st quarter, though, that's why you don't blitz Marino. Kansas City with one of their rare blitzes. Marino picking up it all the way.
It's a corner blitz where all of a sudden the corner coming on the blitz, Mark Collins throws out the air brakes and goes, oh no, I better get back into this play. Here's the face mask at the end of the play. That's Charles Mincy. And he spins it all the way back around. But you're right, Mark Collins came on the blitz. They got caught and they paid.
Miller's 1st catch. Marino has connected with 9 different receivers. From the 28 on 1st down. Parmalee, nothing. 2nd and 10. Darren Mickle stops him. Dan Marino, early on in his career, the Super Bowl against the 49ers, and he has said it several times in interviews in recent years, boy, he thought he'd be back, but he has not been. And last year, they didn't even make the playoffs. The year before that, they seemed to be on a roll, but came up short at the end.
It's just wonderful to see Dan Marino back in the NFL. It was a long, dry spell last year without him when he was sitting out because of that Achilles tendon surgery. And he's still not 100%. He still limps when he walks and is still hobbled a little bit.
And thinks he may need another surgery. 2nd and 10. Here's the catch made by Aaron Craver, who's taken out of bounds at the 22-yard line by Tracy Simeon. James Saxon had limped off. Craver normally comes in on 3rd down, but was in there on 2nd down to make the catch here.
Craver, a good story. He came up 3rd round pick in '91, injured a lot, tore up his knee, had reconstruction surgery last year, missed all the season, and has really looked good for the Miami Dolphins. They just have been unable to find a place to put him in there. Of course, we mentioned earlier they lost Terry Kirby, the sensational rookie from last year. They lost him in the 4th game. They lost Keith Byers. So it's good that Craver and Spikes have come on.
A minute 50 to go in the 3rd. Miami up by 7. Marino throwing out of the end zone, out of bounds. Irving Fryer made the catch, but he was out of bounds. And it will be 4th and 4. Clearly out was Irving Fryer.
And Marino put that ball where only Fryer would be able to handle it. I think he knew it was going to be out of bounds. I think he was unhappy with what happened underneath on this pass pattern. And he didn't want to throw this ball, but it's amazing. Even when you're throwing it away, you're almost getting 6.
Well, there was some major holding going on in that play there.
Here's a 40-yard Pete Stoyanovich attempt. Earlier, he made a 40-yarder. John Kidd is the holder. And he does it again. With 1 minute and 36 seconds remaining in the third quarter, Miami has its biggest lead of the game.
And Joe Montana has been very impatient on the sideline. He wants to get that offense back into the game. What a great opportunity to sit in on this one. 2 Hall of Famers in the making.
Have you guys noticed over the last several years how Dan Marino has become more demonstrative, how he has become, in my mind, so much more of a guy who's saying the Miami Dolphins are my football team, and I am going to exert my will more than I have in the past. And
you're right.
Dan Marino, such a competitor, but has now become, I think, an up-front, out-front type of leader for this football team.
And part of it, Dan, we touched on it. There's an urgency on the part of Dan Marino. He's done it all in this game. There are 29 pages in Harvey Green's press guide here at Miami about Dan Marino, and that's more than the coach. That's dangerous, but Dan Marino's done it all except get to that Super Bowl and win that Super Bowl.
That record he said earlier with his 11th consecutive postseason game with a touchdown pass eclipses a mark he had shared with Ken Stabler and Joe Montana. Montana's streak is not a current streak, so Dan owns that mark by himself with 11.
Well, too many times, I think, a lot of times, the quarterback is a robot. He is a machine who's the extension of the coach, and he just executes the plays that are sent out there, a lot of times being asked to do it by their coach, to be devoid of personality. That is not the case with Dan Marino. He'll yell at you and shove you and talk to you. And a little Sammy Baugh there.
Modern day Marino.
Yeah.
Modern day Bobby Lane.
Bobby Lane. The old timers weren't afraid to get in your face.
Stoyanovich sends it down to John Vaughn. His run back from the 6-yard line to the 29-yard line. And now a very important drive for the Kansas City Chiefs, because you've got 16 minutes and 26 seconds left in regulation, and for the first time in the game, one team leads the other by more than a touchdown. There he is in the second half, just 1 of 2 for 7 yards after a scintillating first half. And let's see what Paul Hackett sends in here.
And it's also imperative that the Miami defense rise up here.
You've got Greg Hill in the game in the backfield with Allen resting for the moment. And Joe throwing, and it's batted and incomplete. Tim Bowens, the rookie out of Mississippi, got his hands on it.
All right, now in the last drive we saw one batted away also by Coleman, and now it's the rookie Bowens.
Well,
finally getting pressure.
This is the problem when you fall behind on the road, because now the crowd becomes a factor. It's going to be hard to hear, hard to do anything. A great look there of Bowens blocking the ball. And we made a point about there being no turnovers in the game. You think that Miami maybe could survive a turnover. At this stage of the game, I'm not sure Kansas City could, especially at this end of the field.
2nd and 10. Joe with a roll. Threads one right in there to Keith Cash. The 44-yard line.
Al touched on it earlier in the game. Keith Cash missed 10 weeks this year with an injury. Last year in the playoffs, the 3 playoff games, he had 17 receptions. He was their guy that they planned big-time things with this year, and of course got hurt this year and has been out the first 10 games. Just came back last week. He works well with Joe Montana, who's used to a good tight end, receiving tight end, a la Brett Jones of the 49ers.
Montana now 14 of 19 for an even 200 yards. Marcus Allen slips down, gets up, and then fights his way out to the 45-yard line. Half a minute to go in the third quarter. Again, if the Chiefs win this game as the number 6 seed, they would face the top seed, that's the Pittsburgh Steelers, If Miami wins this game, and in effect Miami is the #3 seed, they go to San Diego, seeded second.
Talking to the Miami Dolphins, and they think back to that Indianapolis game, 1st and goal at the 3-yard line, 2 minutes to play. Had they got that in, won that game, they would be home watching the playoffs today. They would have a week off, and they would have a host role.
That is the end of the 3rd quarter. Miami 27, Kansas City 17. We'll return to Miami after this word from our ABC station. Back in Miami, Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf, and Lynn Swan. We start the 4th quarter. Miami leading by 10. Kansas City at its own 45, 2nd and 9. Joe Montana sends Willie Davis, who's been quiet today, in motion, and then throws to Kimball Anders, and he gets taken down by Jesse Solomon at the 48-yard line.
Good coverage downfield. Montana had no place to put it. Dumps it off, and this time good tackling on the part of the Dolphins.
3rd and 6. Pretty key play coming up right here.
Monster play.
And the crowd knows it, and they sense it. Third and 6. The ball is given to Anders, and Kimball Anders has a first down to the 45-yard line. What a call.
What hats off to both these offensive coordinators. Paul Hackett making the call there. Of course, he was with Montana with the 49ers 83 to 85. But on both sides of the ball, we're getting good calls from Gary Stevens of the Dolphins.
Good blocking there on the left side. Credit the offensive line. Zott, the left guard. Big John Alt there on the left side. Look at him throw Marco Coleman all the way upfield. Will Shields came all the way across. Good looking play.
And first down at the 45-yard line. Joe protected brilliantly. Throws. Catch made by Derek Walker at the 32-yard line. Another first down, and Montana back in rhythm.
Boy, Eric Walker has been so special for Kansas City this year with Keith Cash, which we've already documented on the bench for so long, and this former University of Michigan free agent makes another big play here, keeps the drive moving. Only 6 feet tall. He holds on to it.
Michael Stewart with a tackle, 15-yard gain, first down at the 30. 13-15 left in the 4th. Miami leads by 10. Marcus Allen. Marcus takes it to the 19-yard line. This looks like their first drive of the game now. Derek Graham led the way. Good block, first down.
Boy, I tell you who else got a good block out front. I think Kimball Anders was the guy that was the lead blocker there.
We whacked Stewart.
Right now, it looks to me like fatigue is setting in a little bit on the Miami defense. They're not as crisp. They're not as sharp. They're not pursuing as well as they were at the beginning of the ball game. And Kansas City is getting an awful lot of people involved offensively, mixing and matching very well.
First down at the 19-yard line. The fake, the throw, Burton, and he's ridden out of bounds just inside the 11-yard line, a little short of the first down. J. Bree Brown makes the tackle.
He's well aware of the clock. He's aware of the score. He's starting early to conserve time for Kansas City.
And if I'm Kansas City right now, Frank, and I'm Montana, I move my huddle briskly. I get up to the, I don't go to a no huddle, but I get up there as quickly as I can. You can see they've picked up the pace. I think they sense they've got Miami on their heels.
Absolutely. With 15 seconds still left on the play clock on 2nd and 1. They give it to Anders, and he takes it down to the 5-yard line. It'll be first and goal.
You can see that one team right here, that wasn't even all that nicely an executed play. It was not a thing of beauty, and yet it's still good for the 4 yards, even without looking like a whole lot. And this is a Dolphin team right now that needs to dig deep and come up with something.
10th play of this drive. The drive has started back at the 29-yard line. Can motion. It's first and goal. Montana throws, and it is intercepted by J.B. Brown.
That's digging deep. Somebody better get him.
Out of bounds at the 24-yard line.
That's digging deep.
We talked turnovers. what they can do.
That's like George Foreman landing a shot in the 11th round.
Well, I'll tell you, J.B. Brown played the receiver right at the line of scrimmage. It was Eric Martin they were trying to go to on the slant, and it was J.B. all the way. He chucked him at the line of scrimmage, rode him within the legal 5 yards, and got the interception. Great play.
Well, it was a great play, and it was not a very good throw by Joe Montana. I'm not sure what Joe was looking at, thinking that slant was going to be there all the way. But wow, talk about a huge, colossal play for the Dolphins. It didn't look like there was any way they were going to keep Kansas City from scoring.
And you saw Oliver Dottie wanted a personal foul on Marcus Allen at the end of the play, but didn't get it. From the 24-yard line, off the fingertips of Aaron Craver, covered by Sally Amu. It'll be second down.
Joe's looking at him all the way. He's looking at Martin. That's his go-to guy from the whole play.
Now, I think he thought that Martin was going to disengage from J.B. Brown, and Brown just played it beautifully.
Oh. I don't know if Joe was expecting Eric Martin to be more to the inside, run a sharper angle across the middle. That's certainly where he delivered the football, like he expected Eric Martin to be between himself and J.B. Brown.
Well, the quarterback, that's what you count on. This is where the Kansas City defense has to assert itself. Right here, second down and 10. And Parmalee goes down. And he's tackled. The Chiefs want to say it was at the 23-yard line.
Yeah, they're going to want to say that Darren Mickle back there in that collision
touched him, yeah.
Touched him, and that's where the ball should be spotted, but they're not going to get it from Jerry Markright.
I don't think he did. At the 26, they'll spot it. Third down and 7.
First downs become killers for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Miami leading 27-17. Third and 7 from the Dolphin 27. A little shovel pass underneath to Craver. And Craver, after bouncing off a couple of Chiefs, is thrust out of bounds at the 32. So they're able to hold him. Monty Grau and Charles Mincy were there to make sure he didn't reach that marker. This was an important hold on the part of the Kansas City defense, because they'll get the ball back, or should, in good field position. And I'll say it for you again, Dan. Dale Carter dropping back. He can make things happen.
And one other thing to keep in mind here. You know Joe Montana will be totally unfazed by having thrown that interception. He will get the ball back here just the same as always.
Kidd's kick is caught by the Dolphin at the 20-yard line. It was Mohamed Oliver running all the way down there. This play is over. This is nothing right here, but Oliver got down there to cover the punt. A 48-yard move. So back comes Joe, down by 10 with 10:15 left in regulation. He's quick. Nice catch. And boys and their numbers to this point.
That one interception, though, for Joe Montana. We have a 27-17 ball game. Looked like it was going to be 27-24 until he threw that interception to J.B. Brown.
Now first down, Kansas City from the 21. A little swing pass to Greg Hill, and he's out to the 32-yard line. That's a first down. First down, Kansas City, with 10:05 left. How many times? How many times for Joe, for Dan for that matter, fourth quarter comebacks?
Well, his lifelong narcotic is football and winning and looking for another big fix and a 5th Super Bowl. They're so different. As you look at Marino, we talked about his attitude. Montana so cool, so quiet that it really burns inside.
Marcus Allen back in the game. He takes the toss. Marcus on the move. Marcus picks up the first down. Allen out to the 45-yard line, tackled by Troy Vincent.
They have been running the screens on both sides of the line of scrimmage today. Miami has been running them well. Kansas City has been running them well. And, of course, to run the screen pass, Frank, it helps to have a quarterback who can handle the ball and set it up.
And both teams aware the other team is struggling to get pass pressure on. Their defensive linemen are getting tied up. They're fighting to get to the quarterback. That's the best time to run a screen.
Greg Hill back in the game. From the 45-yard line, they give it to Greg Hill.
And he squeezes through the middle for 2.5. And a little shoving at the end of the play. I think Lake Dawson was involved in it, and J.B. Brown wants a flag.
One of the Dolphins just able to get back up to his feet. I think it's Mike Stewart that Stewart was holding on to Dawson's jersey. Dawson took offense and actually grabbed the left leg of Michael Stewart and put him down. It was a pretty good takedown in the wrestling arena.
No harm, no foul. Catch is made by Dawson, and that's very close to a first down, just inside the Dolphin 45-yard line.
Dawson, as a rookie, had 37 receptions. He'll fight for the football. They really like him in Kansas City. He's strong. He's over 200 pounds. Has some good height, 6'1".
That's a first down. First down, Kansas City at the Dolphin 44. 7:48 left in regulation. Miami leading 27-17. Marcus bounces off, swings to the outside, turns nothing into a 9-yard gain. The ball is pulled away and taken away by Michael Stewart. He took the ball away. Miami has it.
A little spin move that Marcus Allen has patented over the years got him in trouble. He spun right into Michael Stewart, who's very heads up, went for the ball instead of the tackle.
What a play by Marcus Allen just to get away. Let's watch the end of it. Here's Michael Stewart, 35. The question is, when is Marcus Allen down and when is the play over?
Oh, that's a tough call.
Boy, that...
They both had their hands on it, but the offense is always given the possession.
Do they both have their hands on the football when Marcus touches?
And is Stewart inbounds as he takes possession of it?
One. Yes.
Whoa,
well, yes,
boy.
I
don't know about that on either count.
Looks at no time did Stewart get both feet in the field of play.
Yes, Irving Spikes picks up a yard.
And you can really make an argument that Marcus Allen was on his back and still had both hands on the football. Now, granted, Stewart had both hands on the football, but in that case, it belongs to the offense.
Well, I think it was one hand. Boy,
well,
that's a tough call.
Boy, what an interesting play this is.
Fascinating. Two things to look at. Possession and then inbounds or out of bounds.
See, Marcus, his right hand slips off of the ball, but it looked to me like he was already on the ground.
But on they go. It's second down and 9 at the 35. Spikes. About 4. That's going to set up a huge 3rd and 5 as Kansas City has to hold here with 6:37 remaining.
This is a tough call. We run it for you in slow motion. This happened at warp speed. For an official to make the call, it's really difficult.
There's Marcus on the ground. Let's put it this way. It appeared to me that Marcus Allen retained possession of the football. Would replay, if it was still in use, have overturned that? No, it would not.
At least dual possession, and that would be awarded to the offensive player.
Absolutely right. But would replay have corrected that? I don't think we saw enough to do so.
Replay would have taken at least 5 minutes to look at that one.
Right.
And this one is whistled before its inception.
I never thought I'd hear Al say that.
Yes, well, it would have. That one would have.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
And a proponent of the instant replay.
Yeah.
So you have to respect it. Don Shula likes it.
Interesting that in this situation, in the 4th quarter of a playoff football game, the last 2 times the Kansas City Chiefs have had the football, it's been turned over by Joe Montana and Marcus Allen.
Hall of Famers. Yes. 3rd down and 10. Well, certainly to be Hall of Famers.
Oh, yeah. Of that, there is no debate.
Huge play for the Chiefs defensively here. 3rd down and 10. It's dropped off underneath to Craver. And Aaron Craver gets it to the 50 and a first down.
Craver and Spikes, they don't try to elude anything. And they have been
banging into Kansas City tacklers all afternoon.
Kansas City just brings 3 people going after Dan Marino. Good luck. You just can't sit back there and give Dan Marino an unobstructed field of view.
Dale Carter took the shot that time from the 220-pound Craver.
Too many options. Too many options to give either one of these quarterbacks that much time.
1st and 10 from the 50-yard line. Parmalee to the 45. Flag comes in at the end.
Jeff Dellenbach looking disgustedly over towards our umpire here tonight, Chad Brown. I think that's why. Now, if it's not on Dellenbach, Jeff, I got to give you a hint. Don't act guilty.
Holding number 65, offense. 10-yard penalty, first down.
It is Dellenbach. And that helped the Chiefs a lot. Because they're not helping themselves very much right now in stopping the Dolphins.
Well, we saw a very poignant look at Marcus Allen a moment ago. He's not a demonstrative guy. He's a team guy all the way. He's never a me guy. He's just a classy football player. He knows what happened. It hurts. He gave it his best effort. He's going to live with it, but he'll live a long time with it if this doesn't work out.
I'm not sure Marcus Allen did anything wrong. I think Michael Stewart did something amazing.
On 1st and 20, this is Parmalee getting about half of it back up to the 50-yard line.
That's one of those deals, I think, where Michael Stewart, in wresting that ball away from Marcus Allen, just made an extraordinary play.
Now, Kansas City has to take a timeout. They have to start conserving the clock right here. It'll be 2nd and 10 at the 50 when we come back. 4:46 left in the 4th.
It's time to settle the score. Florida State beats Florida in the USF&G Insurance Sugar Bowl Monday night on ABC.
Well, we talked before about a sense of urgency, which is kind of the in vogue phrase over the last couple of years, and Dan applied it to Dan Marino, and you can certainly apply it to the Kansas City Chiefs collectively. This is a fully flowered team right now, and a team that goes to the playoffs for its 5th consecutive season. But right now they're on the verge of getting eliminated. Down by 10. It is 2nd and 10 here, and Parmalee will get stopped at the 49-yard line. Now, will the Chiefs use another timeout here? And they will. So they've taken 2 timeouts, knowing they need 2 scores, knowing they have 1 more timeout and the 2-minute warning to stop the clock. 4:37 left in regulation.
We know the feeling. This is a fully flowered booth as well.
Yes. Deflowered. Right now, it's incumbent on the Kansas City Chiefs to stop the Miami Dolphins on a 3rd and 11 at the 49-yard line.
It's that simple, isn't it?
Yep. Get the ball back and score twice.
Yep. They're down 10 points. They've used 2 of their timeouts here in stopping the clock. They only have 1 remaining.
In fact, they have, in double checking it, they have none because they had to take the defensive timeout earlier when the Dolphins went into that hurry up.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
And they're out of timeouts.
The Dolphins' first drive of the 2nd half. You're right.
There's such a feeling too, almost of desperation. Again, I go back. They've been playing this game for 6 months, and it could end here in a matter of minutes.
Well, it can pretty much end here if the Dolphins convert on a 3rd and 11. And they don't. It's dropped by Craver. So the Chiefs are going to get it back. A flag is thrown back at the 45-yard line of the Dolphins. It's from the umpire.
And will it be a first down foul?
Illegal hands to the face.
Yes.
Number 58, defense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Can you spell back breaker?
Derek Thomas.
The man that has brought them to the playoffs over these past 5 years. Just hurt.
You can see Dave Adolph looking up at his monitor. He wants to see if we can find it. Craig Janoff, our director, Kenny Wolf, our producer, I'm sure are scurrying to see if we can find it, but oftentimes away from the play like that, it's tough to find. It's a lot of times it happens away from the ball on the far side of the field, and obviously that's the case here.
It was tough for Schottenheimer or Adolph to find. First down Miami at the 46-yard line, and now they'll chew up as much of the clock as they can, and Parmalee chews up the clock and the ground.
Well, what was important was that one of the officials saw it, and that's all it took.
Go back and take a look on the replay, left side of the screen.
Let's look. There's Derek Thomas.
Well, that had to be a forearm that we didn't see to the face.
It either happened prior to that or it's happening on the other side of Derek Thomas's body, screened away from it.
He did not complain.
No, he really didn't. He did not contest it at all.
Dolphins now at the 36-yard line. Parmalee picks up 3. So if Miami holds on, they go to San Diego next Sunday. Kansas City goes home. Their season would be over. And then the Cleveland New England winner would go to Pittsburgh Saturday.
And the questions, of course, will continue and build to some kind of a crescendo about Joe Montana's future. Will he come back? Will he not come back? Will this man, Marcus Allen, who I know I've done it, Marcus. I did it in the championship game, and I've never forgotten it.
Second down and 8 at the 34-yard line.
I wish I'd have been in a championship game.
Irving spikes.
You wouldn't have forgot it.
Nope.
That much time left, and again, no timeouts, just a 2-minute warning to stop the clock.
Hey, a quick second here to say congratulations to one of our graphic guys, Richie DeAngelis. He and his wife, Adrian, had a son this week on Wednesday. Nicholas Richard DeAngelis, 6 pounds, 6 ounces. Everybody's doing fine. Richie and Adrian, congratulations. Richie, that's still no excuse for not being here.
I told Richie that's not difficult.
You can get here, right? It's just
no, I'm having one.
Having one.
Congratulations, Richie.
Our crew is the best, and we are justifiably, I think, proud of them.
We got a great team.
Yeah, we do.
3rd and 12. They keep it on the ground out of the shotgun. Taking it to the 35-yard line is Aaron Craver. And that's going to take us to the 2-minute warning. It'll be a 4th down for Miami coming up with 2 minutes to go. 2 minutes. And Miami with 10 second half points to none for Kansas City, leading 27-17. 2 minutes to go on 4th down, and Miami to punt from the Kansas City 35-yard line. You know, you look at Derek Thomas, and to borrow that line from Wide World of Sports, the human drama, it's the Montanas and the Allens and the Thomases that get you here. And then it's those guys that have come up short here in the 4th quarter. The interception by Montana, the stripping of the ball out of Marcus Allen's hands, and then the Derek Thomas penalty. And they put Kansas City in a very difficult position, obviously, as the kick with nobody back to receive floats into the end zone. They simply try for the block, and now Kansas City will take it at the 20-yard line with 1:52 to go. ABC's AFC wildcard game is being brought to you by Chrysler and the new Chrysler Cirrus Sport Sedan. Microsoft, the leader in software. Where do you want to go today? Home box office. And the new Gillette Sensor Excel with micro fins that set up your beard for the world's best shave. It'll be here, the 29th Super Bowl.
On the 29th.
On the 29th of January, 4 weeks from mañana. Well, is this the end of Montana's career?
I hope not.
I hope not either. I don't think anybody, including Joe, knows right now. But as he throws the ball to Marcus Allen, if it is, just savor it. Do a little reflecting. You never know.
You know, over the years, we've looked at him so many times with those arms reaching up to the heavens after a touchdown pass. But, you know, in the last couple of years, we've also gotten very familiar with him lying on the different surfaces around the league. The championship game a year ago, out with a concussion, a knee this year, a foot injury, a back injury a few years ago. You just don't quite know how to think about it.
2nd and 10. Joe throws, and that's incomplete, throwing into traffic intended for Derek Walker.
Let's just talk about what we do know. Joe is an unbelievable competitor. He says that he loves the stage and that he will play as long as he can and as long as he can be productive. He is productive, and he has a coach in Marty Schottenheimer who wants him to come back. Given those two factors, it's hard for me to imagine Joe Montana not playing in 1995.
Easier for Joe, I think, than maybe Marcus Allen, who will be 35 as a running back.
Agreed.
3rd down and 9.
But Marty wants Marcus back, too.
Yep, and Marcus wants the comeback. On the screen, it's Kimball Anders picking and threading and very close to a first down. Clearly, if he's short, they're still going for it on 4th and inches or an inch or two, and they are a little short.
It's the last game you remember most, and I don't think taking that one interception, I think most of Joe's memories about his performance here today should be positive. The guy played a really good football game.
Played a fabulous first half.
Yeah.
You got a first down, you got a waste down here. Could be, if you got anything big that you can get deep on, you might want to try it. Miami is, of course, thinking right with him.
Well, they've got to get a yard to keep possession of the ball. And it's Anders, and he gets that yard. And again, the clock keeps on moving. 127, 126, and counting down.
Point with the time ticking away. You've got to try something up on top.
Now Joe over the middle, and that's incomplete. Up at the 36, intended for Derek Walker. The president of the team, Carl Peterson, had an interesting observation about 3 weeks ago. He felt that the Chiefs went down in flames and didn't make the playoffs. And there is Carl, that Joe would probably come back. He wouldn't want to end his career that way. He felt if they got all the way to the Super Bowl, he might quit. Now they're kind of in that middle ground. They made it to the first round, but they're going out.
Well, at the beginning of the season, who didn't expect this team to get into the playoffs?
Flag down, Burden makes the catch.
When you looked at the AFC and you looked at the teams that were the powerhouses in the AFC, I think it was a foregone conclusion that the Chiefs were going to make the playoffs, and had to come down to the last game of the season to beat the Raiders to get in. This is
and they did not only beat them, they beat them on both sides of the ball. They were ready for this game. Marty was very optimistic about saying they're as healthy as they've been all year.
Outside defense, 5-yard penalty.
But I don't.
Still second down.
My point is, I don't think getting into the playoffs is that big a plus for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they were expected to get into the playoffs, and failing in the first round is a bitter disappointment for Marty Schottenheimer. He expected better things from this football team. And there's Wayne Huizenga, the owner of the Miami Dolphins, there in the white shirt with his hand on his chin.
He could have left off Dolphins. He owns Miami.
Yeah, he owns that. Right. Good point.
The Marlins, the
deepest pockets you're going to see.
At least he has one team that's playing, because he has the Marlins and the Panthers that are in mothballs right now.
That guy has credit card limits that are higher than my net worth.
The catch is made by Lake Dawson.
Just so humble.
And that's a first down.
I know your net worth. The restaurant tycoon.
Yes. Well, what a beautiful look at this magnificent facility, and we'll be back here. And
proud to be here.
Yep. Thanks to Craig and Kenny and the whole crew. Great job, guys.
Sensational. First and 10 at the 41. 59 seconds left. Montana setting it up. It's Marcus Allen. Marcus looking for that sideline, trying to get out of bounds, and does at the 45-yard line. 49 seconds remaining. If Miami holds on to win, again, they go to San Diego, and you look at the towel-draped Thomas and Smith. They could conceivably host the AFC Championship game here. They could do that by beating San Diego. And the winner of the New England-Cleveland game goes to Pittsburgh. If the Browns were to win that game, or the Patriots were to win that game, then Miami could come home to host the AFC Championship game. Trips right. First down at the 45-yard line. Joe. And the catch is made by J.J. Burton, but he stays in bounds. The ball at the 28. Joe saying, let's go, let's go. I got to conserve some clock here. Get lined up, get lined up.
Be wise to spike this one.
And he will right there. All right, 31 seconds. Well, more bizarre things have happened. You get one into the end zone, you retrieve an onside kick, you kick a field goal. Lamar Hunt, well, he watched his team win a Super Bowl all the way back in Super Bowl IV when they beat the Vikings. Long time ago.
A nicer guy never lived. What a classy man is Lamar Hunt.
Second down at the 28-yard line. Catch is made by Davis. He steps out of bounds at the 20-yard line.
I'll tell you, Joe's not going easy, is he?
No, he's not.
Montana over 300 yards. It's the 6th time in his career in postseason play that he's gone over 300 yards, and that's a new NFL record. Third and 1 from the 19. Joe looking for the end zone, too high for Willie Davis, who went up with one hand and couldn't haul it in. So it's 4th down now. 21 seconds remaining.
This time, Joe, almost desperation trying to get it in between defenders. Braxton going up. 3 men on the coverage of Willie Davis. Willie Davis, who gave us such a thrill in the Denver game when he pulled it out with 5 seconds remaining on a pass from Joe Montana.
That was really a well-thrown ball by Montana.
Yep, it was.
4th down here. Joe looking for 6, and it's knocked down at the goal line. Intended for Willie Davis.
Glad I got to sit in on this one.
Yep, I couldn't agree with you more, Frank. And I don't think that sign was for me. I think that was for number 13.
Well, is that the end?
I hope not.
I hope not either. Well, I tell you, watch him, the way he played in that first half today. Marcus says he'll definitely be back. You watch Montana have a first half like he had today, and you have to have him back. I mean, we're being selfish. It's easy for us to say. He's got to take the
you got to find
physical abuse.
You got to find a reason for him to not be back.
Yep.
And we certainly didn't see one.
The Miami Dolphins will win the game and go to San Diego next Sunday. The Chiefs season is over. Montana's career, question mark. The future.
A big win for the Miami Dolphins, who struggled for a while in early December, and boy, have their fans here at Joe Robbie Stadium been rewarded with a couple big games late in the season. 2 of those big games being wins over the Kansas City Chiefs.
Don Shula taking a ride down victory lane. And Joe Montana heading back to the Kansas City locker room. And the crowd going home, and they're hopeful of getting back here and seeing their Dolphins at least one more time somewhere down the line. 27-17 is the final. The Dolphins win it and advance. And right now, let's go to New York and check in there with John Saunders. John?
All right, Al, thanks a lot. 27-17 is the final. Miami gets the victory at home. Will they have at least one more game there? We will find out in the weeks. We'll come back and wrap things up in just a moment. Stick around. Saunders, Boomer Esiason. Well, the quarterback matchup was as advertised.
It was a great football game for both quarterbacks. 2 big plays by Miami's defense. Michael Stewart ripping the ball out of Marcus Allen's hand, and also J.B. Brown stepping in front of a slant route. Those 2 plays, obviously, with a difference.
And as we talked about off camera, Joe Montana, come back. You've got plenty more football left in you. Bill Cowher joins us now. Well, here's your choice. You get either Cleveland, a team that you've beaten twice, tough to beat a team 3 times, or New England, one of the hottest teams in the AFC. What do you like going in?
Well, obviously, we know Cleveland very well, having just played them basically 2 weeks ago. But in our study this week and watching New England, there's no question. Drew Bledsoe is one of the bright young quarterbacks in the National Football League, and their defense has played very well as of late. So I think tomorrow's game is going to be another good one, just like today's was.
And again, Megan getting more airtime than any youngster on national television. Thanks a lot, Boomer Esiason. Did a great job. Right now, we're going to take you back to Al Michaels. Thanks for watching.
John, and back here, the final score, of course, was 27-17, and we've talked so much about Montana. We don't know whether this was the end or not, but how about Dan Marino and the effort he turned in today and throughout the course of the season?
And they take the show now to San Diego, and remember last December 27th we were there 45-20, San Diego over Miami. When they had that fall apart of a year ago, what a different team it is now.
And you mentioned Marino, and let's not lose sight of the fact that a year ago at this time, we were wondering whether Dan Marino was going to be back this year, whether 94 was going to be a year in which he could even play at all, much less be productive. And look at the year he turns in, and his year is still going on.
Right, and the running game is pretty good now with Bernie Parmalee. They're playing a lot better defensively. Who knows? That's going to be a good game next week, Miami, San Diego.
And Aaron Craver coming along. Let's see, they'll get everyone ready. They'll be healthy like Marty was.
Well,
healthy.
we'll see if they get Ingram back from the ankle injury. You know, he didn't play today.
Heller will be better.
And look at the emergence of a guy like O.J. McDuffie, a quality return guy, but his ability to play from the line of scrimmage, had the big block early. It kind of set a tone for Miami when he hits Derek Thomas. So you're right, the Miami Dolphins, a much more complete football team than they were earlier in this football season.
Well, the Monday lineup, 3 bowl games coming your way for Montana. It ends in frustration as the Dolphins and Marino advance 27-17. Happy New Year from Miami.
Recognized around the world as the leader in sports television.